Okay, I think we're live. Welcome everyone to another session after a long while of DC Adventures, Midnight City. And yeah, a lot of personal schedule things have inhibited us from playing for a little while now, but now we're back. Okay, we're gonna start off basically where we left off last time, but I'm gonna start it with a little bit of fluff first. I'm gonna start it with setting the scenery a little bit for you guys. Um, I'll have you imagine basically the cityscape of Midnight City, the gray and black and white, horrible, desolate world. The city underneath that black dome of smoke and storms. That basically where basically everyone has had their humanistic impulses, their empathy and sympathy aspects about themselves basically snuffed out or just completely stomped into the absolute minimum. People have been surviving through basically rations, the type of army style rations that the government has been giving them as aid, and everyone's basically just self-loathing, misanthropic, and the whole place is just run by violent, vicious gangs where you can see dead bodies pretty much every day, whether they're bodies that have simply crumbled through basically the strengthlessness that they've been left under in this environment, whether they're bodies victims of gang violence or just random violence, or whether they're bodies that are the products of basically cannibalism, because that's running rampant in the city as well. Depending on which section of the city you're in, the different kind of violence tends to be at the top tier for the inhabitants. And in this cityscape, in this kind of a small, cold rain that's going on there, where everything is just black and white and shades of gray, where people are walking down the streets in trench coats and keeping their hands in their pockets, their hats, deep in their heads, and hoods in their heads, and all this, driving past fast with their cars just so that nobody gets enough time to come at and jerk at their handle to get inside and just stabs a driver and steal their possessions or their car or whatnot. And within this kind of mass of people walking down the streets, there's one pedestrian there who's a young little boy there, walking with his little hoodie on and clinching a comic book of Captain Phantom close to his chest, just walking there, screaming for his mother there, with tears running down his cheeks in the rain there, with everyone basically who are running up to him, kind of like circling the kid, just kind of going past him, not even like turning their heads to look at the kid in need there clearly. And the kid being basically the same kid that was described earlier, whose mother went out to forage for food for the two of them, who was caught by the barbarians and dragged down the concrete pavement with hooks and chains in the back of motorcycles until she was turned into mush. The little kid walking there and crying for her mom there, just walking there and crying, "Mom!" And at one point when he's walking down the street there, in one of the little streetways there between buildings, some kind of ghoulish, tacky-haired kind of character is just kind of peeking out there, kind of like, "Hey, kid, it's warm in here. It's safe in here. You can come here. We'll look for your mom together." And when the kid turns to that direction, immediately an axe gets planted into the guy's head, and the tacky-looking, ghoulish guy drops to the ground, and whoever sunk that axe into his head is immediately going through his pockets and taking off his shoes and looking if they're the same size as his own feet, and all that stuff. And the kid immediately runs off screaming and runs to the edge of a street and just stops there, and with tears just running down on his on his face, clutching the comic book. He just screams to the skies, "Mom!" as his hair kind of goes in the current of the wind, because the Black Cat aircraft just flies right above this cityscape, filled with people with all sorts of horrible life situation stories and violence and depressing realities. Just kind of flies above them, with the kid looking behind it with his hair like fluffing in the air current that it created. And indeed, through the air, the Black Cat, this drop ship, like this Huey helicopter-looking kind of a gliding machine, just gonna flies through the air, holding inside it its pilot Manny and its crew of Mr. Brick, Geist, and Liam, the long swords, the only real superhero group, if they can even be called that at this point. They've been called fascists and they've been called superheroes by others, but here they are, flying, soaring through the air, looking at radar equipment, showing a bleeping light ahead of them, going from east to west on a highway. And there you are. There's everybody in the flying machine with their boxes filled with those laboratory papers, and you're just fresh out of leaving the lab facility where you met that creepy, deformed creature, and having grabbed all of that data with you, and having been called on to basically the truck that Mr. Brick put the tracer onto, that held all the basically the stasis pods that were stored in the Barbarians' storage facility, is now on the move. And after getting all your shit together, you guys flew off, and here you are flying above the city to your immediate location. What's going on inside the Black Cat?
Liam is, considering the Black Cat is probably stuffed quite full, he's trying to make himself comfortable on one of the boxes, and kind of opens it and kind of tries to see, seeing as the lighting is not really good here, trying to see what's written on it. And as he does, he kind of looks over the paper at Geist and says, so what do we do when we find the truck?
The main idea is going to be to take the truck and follow it for the time being. Know exactly where they're taking it, and then intercept any plans that they have for it. We know that they're trying to replicate the previous experiments. He glances over at Mr. Brick. Again, his visage being that very dark and grim in this city of black and white and eternal night. His cowl that he wears, this ski mask like visage that just hangs over his face, not showing any skin or flesh whatsoever, and barely moves underneath the breath of his own voice. In this trench coat style hoodie that he wears, fashionable yet dark and grim, with the long sword symbol there. He is not even looking at you, but looking forward, looking at that radar screen on Manny's console as he attempts to ascertain how close we are getting. The ship rocking back and forth a bit as the lights flash on and off. They would be in red, but again, this is all in black and white, so it's just and he just turns to you. That's pretty much it for the time being. We need to see exactly what they're up to.
Okay, so this kind of sounds like your cup of tea?
For the most part, but I want everyone on ready. We don't know what's going to happen.
All right. I kind of pull out another box and kind of make it like I can put my feet up and make myself comfortable against the boxes, and there you go.
What's Mr. Brick doing while this is going on? You're muted.
Mr. Brick is scrunched up in the edge by the door, one of the outlet doors, specifically the door that was damaged in that last fight with that crazy cybernetic woman. He's got his head crunched down, looking out, just watching out the window, just watching everything go by. Really not paying attention to anything that Liam or Mr. Geist are saying. He seems to be just fiddling with his massive finger, a piece of the metal that just happens to be sticking out, and he's like, "Dink," and it breaks off, and he's like, and he just quietly picks it up and just kind of puts it off to the side and continues his quiet thoughts to himself.
Any specific thoughts, or just kind of like zoning out?
as you know, as Mr. Brick looks out the window, he contemplates as much as he can contemplate, and he sends to go into the place where he used to hide himself when he was locked within the prison that was his home for 30-something years. That cell that he broke out of and escaped from, that truly he never actually escaped from, is still inside his mind. And that's the place that he retreats to when he's unsure of what's going to happen or what's going to go on. Meeting 6533 number, whatever, in Mr. Brick's mind has really messed him up, as he thought that he was the only one that was injured. He had no idea that other children were being tortured and killed. And the thoughts and ramifications of maybe this new person that he's met is hunting down children is just really eating at him on the inside. He understands that we have to do what we have to do as a super group. That's what you do. You do what's best for everyone. But at the same time, he's struggling with whether he should have just crushed her beneath his hand or locked her up or done something more than what he did do. And that forces his unstable mind to just retreat back to that cage where he just locks away all his emotions and feelings into it and just lets him sort of blank out, as it were. And that's why we find him just staring where he's nothing.
It was very convincing when Geist intimidated 655321 into staying out of kidnapping kids and whatnot. But then again, she's not all right here, so you can imagine that she might have either some sort of complex where she feels a necessity to do so, or she will just kind of reason it out for herself. Well, they'll understand, or something like that. You never know with somebody who's so unhinged. But yeah, Geist was convincing in his threats when it came to that. But still.
Or was he? For deep down, that was more of a promise for Geist. And he turns to Mr. Brick and says, "Mr. Brick, did you get that? Are you understanding of our objective here?"
Yes. No, guys, I wasn't listening. I'm sorry. There was a bird outside the wall.
You kind of see his cowl just like turn to you with his head, and it's just this very silent, judging look. But who knows what look I'm giving you? For there is nothing but a cowl there with only those soulless dots of white staring back at you. And as he looks back at you, you then hear him say again in that raspy voice of his, "You and Liam here are going to be on standby. I'll go down and investigate when we follow this tag truck further. But we'll have to wait until then. They will be the ones making the move. We need to find out exactly what they're trying to do."
Mr. Brick's face, as sheepish as it was up to that point, as much as he can look kind of sheepish and embarrassed that he wasn't paying attention, kind of his face lights up, and he turns to really face Geist, kind of even pushing Liam a lot out of the side, crushing him more to the left. He's looking over at Geist. He says, "I don't think that's a good idea, Geist. You should probably have someone protect you. You can't go by yourself."
Sure he can. Jesus.
Liam, last time he went, he had a lot of problems.
He's right, Liam. However, Mr. Brick, you all will be on standby right above me during the entire time. I will not be too far from you all that if I need assistance, I'll definitely let you know, and then you all can react with efficiency. This time I will not be taking any chances. And then he looks out that window, looking outwards at the cockpit window, rather, at the target on the screen. His eyes dart back and forth, though this cannot be seen with his outfit. He looks back and forth, and there in that reflection, we see the little radar, blip, 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 and he thinks to himself in his mind, no, I will not be taking any chances. This time you're going to be 6 feet under. Every goddamn one of you.
And at that
This
point,
city will
and
be
at that
cleansed.
point, sorry. And at that point, you notice something on the screen. There's kind of an alarm, kind of a beeper that goes on next to the screen, kind of, and immediately you can see Manny look at it and then turn to you, and kind of like about to make some sort of a gesture to alert you, but seeing that you're already looking at the screen, kind of like turns to you and then points a finger at the screen, and you can see that right where the city, basically where there's the upper town and then the rest that's connected by bridges, there's the vertical basically main road that goes from east to west that the dot was basically traveling on. Way east is basically the eastern block where the barbarians rule, where their territory lies, and all their satellite territories of all their little minions there. And the dot has just crossed to west, to the western front, and which is basically the territory of the Ghost Division. And you know, Ghost Division is basically an extremely militarized gang who are led by a person named Captain Vanguard, and Captain Vanguard has a very rough reputation, not as a brutal torturer or something like that, but as a kind of like a bit crazy of a military commander type. And what you know for absolutely certain is that they are sworn enemies of the barbarians, yet the truck is traveling to their territory on the map.
Geist immediately begins mumbling underneath his breath. This doesn't seem right. Why is this truck going over in there? No. Unless... And he turns to the rest of them. It appears that the truck is heading over to the Vanguard's territory of Ghost Division. Straight from barbarians, straight over to the Ghost Division.
Liam will recognize this because Liam, when you had your little infiltration mission to the arms deal at the docks, you remember that the person who was the people who were selling the weapons to the Thorhammers, who are vassals of the barbarians. The Thorhammers were buying guns off of defectors from the Ghost Division, and the reason why White Lightning, the leader of the Thorhammers, killed the people selling her arms and just took the arms was because she didn't want to make it known that she was dealing with them, so that Captain Vanguard wouldn't come after her. So basically, you kind of overheard that Captain Vanguard has the type of reputation where even White Lightning doesn't want to make an enemy out of him. And now you hear this, that the truck that the barbarians were holding is going to their territory. It doesn't make sense.
That's weird. So, but wait, we came out of the throwaway area, right?
Yeah, you're coming. The throwaways were basically southwest. They were
Then-
basically
then-
southwest.
Shouldn't we have kind of like intercepted it if their truck came from the barbarian area?
Yeah, you would have had you left right away, but you guys
Ah.
were putting the papers in the boxes. You were arguing whether you should grab the cylinders with the hooks and wires. That took a little time off of a straight highway road there, where there's not a lot of traffic in the age of the cataclysmic dome thing. So
I see. Okay.
so
That
yeah.
is weird. So why would why would the barbarians send something to them?
That's a good question, Liam. Maybe perhaps there's some defectors in there, but this is too costly of equipment, too valuable of a prize to be giving away so heinously. Maybe there's something else going on, or perhaps our worst fears may have been realized, and there may be concocting new secret alliances. Last thing we need is for these groups to come together in one large coalition. That'll prove a power shift unlike any other.
So what do we do? Does the plan change because of this?
The plan stays the same. Now more than ever, we have to watch and see exactly what happens.
Fair enough.
But we know where they're going, Geist. Shouldn't we just stop it now before they get a hold of the equipment?
No, if it's just like before, if it's just like a smaller group trying to assert power over top of their leader, it would do us a great favor to observe this. We can exploit this for future representation. However, for the time being, we need to know exactly what we're dealing with. If there is an alliance being concocted, we need to be informed as much as possible and prepare for the worst.
Mr. Brick, would you mind moving a bit more to the left, please?
Okay, Liam.
Thank you.
At that point, when basically you were like, okay, Liam, at that point, from the console at Manny's basically piloting station, there all of a sudden comes this alarm bell like this. And immediately you hear this incredibly powerful, like anti-aircraft machine gun sound as you've entered the airspace of the Ghost Division's territory, and immediately you start to hear, like, on the bottom of the Black Cat, like this, and Mr. Brick can even feel like shards flying right past your like the backs of your legs as you're sitting there at the open door there, like just like shrapnel flying off as this is coming off, and Manny is immediately like going frantically like to the opposite direction to where the open door is, so that Mr. Brick will kind of slide inwards instead of sliding outwards, just kind of to make try to make maneuvers in the air, just kind of, but the machine gun fire commences there, and it's just and all of you can see smoke coming from the outside of the door from the Black Cat, and all of you can see from the open window that the one of its wings gets blown off to smithereens.
Motherfucker, Manny, can't you do shit?
Grab onto something! Alright.
I grab onto Geist.
All right, everybody's grabbing onto something.
Yeah, the Geist has always been like holding on to the side of the of like any like straps, like in a tram or something, just hanging in there, standing the whole time due to the crampedness of there. But as the wing is getting pelted with bullet fire and such, and it's like a scene from like World War II. Geist looks over there at Manny. Let's see here. Oh, We're gonna have to place this thing down. All right, everyone, change the plans. Looks like we're going down in the Ghost Division territory.
Yes, indeed. As, as the black cat is emitting more and more black smoke from its side, and it's just Manny is just struggling to keep it stable as he's like the altitude is of course decreasing, and it's just
During this time, Geist is going to like slowly like make his way over to where Manny is, and make sure to like at when he needs to like grab hold of him because Liam's got him, and he wants to be within arm's reach of him. So just in case the worst happens, he can at least phase them both out. He's not worried about Mr. Brick because, well, Mr. Brick is pretty indestructible.
yeah. Liam is pretty much the one who would be physically most likely to get harmed in a bumpy landing.
Well, seeing as Geist is climbing towards Manny, Liam decides that he doesn't want to cling on to him and make it harder for him to get to him. So he kind of like looks around for a moment, and just concentrates for a moment, and this bubble forms around him with this very comfortable cushions everywhere, and he's just like makes ready for impact.
All right, security bubble. There we go. Okay. What about Mr. Brick? Is Mr. Brick doing anything special while he's racing for?
Yeah, I mean, as everything starts going, immediately Mr. Brick starts, not panicking, but he's looking. He's trying to figure out what's going to go on. He's probably jumped from this height before, so he's not really worried about landing. But then he's looking at Liam, and that's his real major concern. He knows that Geist can do his little phase thing, and he seems to be grabbing for Manny. And with kind of just a ping of inspiration, he turns, looks at Liam, kicks the door out, and grabs Liam's ball and leaps out the thing to jump outside the ship.
Okay. Do you wait for a certain altitude or anything like that, so that you don't get too separated from Geist and Manny, or is it?
To be honest, it's more of a distance thing. Like if there's a rooftop that's maybe 50 feet, 100 feet within his jumping range, he'll do that. And if he has to, he'll just cradle the thing and land on his back, hoping that at least Liam survives the impact.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Okay, you're going, and yeah, Liam is like, oh yeah, I'm safe, and all of a sudden, Mr. Brick just grabs you and jumps out the door, and Geist, of course, sees this as well, and yeah, Mr. Brick sees when he jumps that there is indeed a kind of a short, not too tall, not any kind of skyscraper wannabe kind of tall building, but basically apartment building. Kind of this duplex thing where there's a roof fairly close by to the altitude that you're into that looks like a safe place to land through jumping.
Don't worry, Liam. I got you.
You can't. As you're jumping out, you see Liam losing his shit, but well, you can't hear what he's saying because he's in an airtight bubble. And he's like.
Airtight bubble that he's suffocating inside.
No. He made it big enough so there's some oxygen in it. So, but he just looks at as we're flying out, and Mr. Brick is holding on to him, and he's just looking around and seeing where we're gonna land, and all of a sudden there's this fluffy thing or kind of like airbed or something, huge trampoline kind of thing, like boing, and we're gonna land softly.
Okay. Basically, the direction that you're going to be landing on with Mr. Brick grabbing onto you and leaping, you're going to be pretty close by to where the aircraft is about to land, but still a fair distance away where if somebody missed you guys jumping out, you might be able to remain hidden if you wish. But yeah, what about Geist as you see these guys leap out?
Geist turns his head immediately and sees this daring leap as Mr. Brick grabs Liam. Liam freaking out. They just disappear off in that smoky distance. Immediately he turns his head, and we're coming. And so he times it just right, and just before impact happens, he grabs onto Manny's shoulder, and in one swift motion, all of a sudden they become translucent. All of a sudden, all the machinery starts to pass through them, and the momentum that the craft has begins to be the one that flows through them, and they are not moving. Instead, it is the craft, and he goes through the seats, the circuits, the various metal plating. And for Manny, this is a bit more of a trippy experience as he's looking on the briefly inside of the skeleton before he sees the back end of the flaming portion of the Black Cat before it crashes, and he is just in the air with Geist as he has him by the shoulder as they slowly float down to the ground below after the crash happens.
The crash, however, is softened by Liam's constructs. It's kind of like these kind of bouncy castle-like air cushions kind of come in there, where when it's about to land, like like it would like, but because of the cushioning of the constructs that Liam creates, it's kind of like a soft landing where the machinery is not that damaged, and nor is the pavement where it lands. And it lands basically in this kind of a square. It's kind of a park-like square. This district used to be a district that had a lot of universities in it, had a lot of like big libraries. In fact, the ground zero where basically Captain Phantom and his friends and the rest of the bucklers went underground underneath that one certain library to find what happened in the prologue of this campaign, is now in the territory of the Ghost Division. So basically, the crash landing happens in an area where there's like water fountains that are no longer in use, little bridges across little kind of man-made little rivers there, that kind of and there's a lot of like kind of these kind of perfect places to sit on a bench and read books and picnic around and that sort of thing. And then there's nice looking buildings that have, of course, now become much more like not completely like bombarded and stuff, but still like they look rather rough, and so the entire city, especially this place, has this kind of if you've seen photos of the Bosnian War or something like that from the 90s, it has that kind of where there's rubble here and there, cracked pavement here and there, and this sort of stuff. Anyway, what happens basically is that when Mr. Brick and Liam leaped out of the craft and landed on top of one of the buildings, surprise, surprise! When you land on top of that building, there's a guy sitting there eating from a can who has a sniper's position set up there, but he's taking a break. His sniper rifle is on the edge of the building there, and he's just kind of sitting there, and he just kind of looked in amazement as the Black Cat flew by. And when you guys land on top of the roof, he's kind of like, with his can of beans and a spoon there, and he's dressed in military apparel. There he has all that camo stuff and a beret, and his assault rifle is right next to him on the ground, and his sniper rifle is on the edge of the building there, and he's kind of frozen there, just looking with his mouth open as you land there.
Yeah, as Mr. Brick hits, there's that explosion of rock roof tiles exploding outward. He kind of pulls his feet up as one of his feet actually penetrated into the room below. He stands up, places Liam in his safety bubble behind him, and kind of turns towards the man with the half eating food with his mouth open, and begins kind of like stalking towards him.
Okay, as he's immediately, of course, intimidated like hell. This came absolutely from nowhere, and he's kind of like he's starting to think like whether he should jump up or go for his assault rifle, and he's kind of like the can hasn't even dropped from his hands yet. He's kind of frozen. He's kind of stunned, basically, especially with you walking forward. It's like, oh shit, as you're coming.
And if I can reach him, then Mr. Brick will step forward and grab him by the front of his shirt and just kind of pick him up. The same time, reach down and grab the rifle and just kind of go drop that on the ground, and then walk over to the sniper rifle and go and then drop that.
Okay, the guy is still just kind of like you see his jaw kind of stuttering there, and meanwhile you and Liam can both see that you can see Geist and Manny basically exiting through the back of the Black Cat before the Black Cat lands in these cushions there. And you, as well as Geist and Manny, can see that in the area where it lands, there's civilians there, but the civilians are basically kind of herded around. They always walk in straight lines everywhere, not in this kind of marching military way, but they're basically kind of like there's always somebody with a rifle kind of like keep moving, and they're always like moving like these groups that are clearly like formal and all that, but it doesn't look like they live in this kind of torturous nightmare world like the territory of the barbarians, where people are just strapped on fences with disemboweled bodies and that sort of things for all to see. It looks extremely militaristic and strict, but at the same time, you don't see like dead bodies piled up anywhere. But with the landing.
For visual references, I'm picturing like Great Depression lines of people. Yeah, that's what I'm picturing there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Very fitting. So yeah, basically, and when the vehicle lands, everybody, of course, kind of like like they get a little bit panicky, and the men with the rifles are kind of like reloading and kind of looking around, not at first locating you guys. What about Liam? What about Geist? What are you guys doing? What's Liam doing while Mr. Brick went to grab the guy and squeezed his weapons to mush? And what's Liam doing? And what's Geist doing as well?
Liam is still for a moment in his bubble as Mr. Brick kind of has put him down and immediately has the clearness of mind to walk towards this person. And Liam is kind of like, what just happened? And he kind of looks at Mr. Brick as he's crushing these guns and holding this guy, and he just thinks like, okay, he needs to. He decides to snap out of it, so his bubble kind of pops, and he just stands there and looks around and sees all the high buildings and stuff, and starts throwing up kind of like domes around him. Well, not really a dome around him, but kind of like shields, because he's expecting a bullet to shear at him at any moment. So he's kind of like making. How
large of an area? The entire rooftop, or?
No, not the entire rooftop. Just pretty much around himself, but not that he's disconnected from. Not that air can get through and that sort of stuff, but it's just like you have to be a really great shot to get him without hitting the thing around him. And he's looking around and says, "Where the hell is Manny?"
And as Liam says that, Geist is like floating down with Manny in his arms as he's just floating down there. And as he is, Geist says under his own breath, "Well, when it rains, it pours. I would have expected nothing less by being in this fucking territory. Manny, it looks like we're going to have to, well, abandon the Black Cat for now. This place is going to be swarming." And he gets on his communicator. "Liam, Mr. Brick, what is your condition? Do you read me?"
Yeah, we're fine. We're on the rooftop. Brick guy has somebody... looks like I don't know, a lookout kind of guy. I don't know what the military term for it is.
"Take out his radio."
Oh, yeah, Brick, take out his radio. I don't know where it is, but check it out.
Mr. Brick flips him upside down and starts shaking him. Until things start falling out of his clothes.
Yeah, a multitude of different general items fall out, but one of them is, in fact, a radio. Just this kind of a walkie-talkie kind of thing with an antenna sticking out, you know.
Still holding the man by one leg, he kind of reaches down and very gently picks up the little radio and, "Here, Liam, is the radio."
Thanks. I kind of take it from him. We have his radio.
I'll also mention that while everything is going on, the basic ambiance of this territory is that you hear machine gun fire somewhere in the distance. You see these kind of pillars of black smoke here and there. So there's basically clearly like army training, intense army training happening nearby, and there's all sorts of like little industrious kind of locations going on there as well. But that's basically the ambiance of it. Like you don't hear too many car noises or anything like that. You might hear a truck go by here and there, and you hear those kind of machine gun, like these volleys, kind of like target practice type of stuff,
With swiftness, Geist begins to fly immediately over to their position. As he does, he's looking back and forth all around the city, taking in that ambience, looking back at the Black Cat, and really just not really cursing under his breath, but kind of more on edge than ever, since this is the most warlike territory. This is the most organized warlike territory. With the barbarians, you just have to deal with vagabonds and street gangs. Here, this is like fighting the government one-on-one. This ain't good. So he sets you see Geist and Manny fly in, Liam and Mr. Brick. You see him come right on in, and as he gently lets Manny go, and before his 2 feet land softly onto the ground, and he walks over to where Mr. Brick is, and then looking over his shoulder to you, Liam, he says, "We're going to need to make sure to keep that radio on. Listen just in case that they're going to see where our location is. We need to be one step ahead of them. We're in their territory now."
I throw the radio at him.
Yeah, I'll mention that while this is going on, it all happened rather rapidly as soon as you guys came basically crashing down. Basically, as soon as the Black Cat hit the ground, you can already see like the civilians being mobilized away from the scene and soldiers getting mobilized into the scene. So basically, at the point when Geist and Manny arrived to the rooftop, you can hear from the radio. You can hear whiskey outpost, come in. There's sector 7G. There's this jargon. This jargon is coming out. This military jargon of just 1, 2, 3, whatever. This kind of simplify and basically informing basically everyone of a. Exactly. I didn't even think of that, but still, basically alerting all posts in the area of basically that there's a situation in this location, and basically like if you guys hadn't landed on that rooftop, that sniper would be now pointing his sniper rifle where that vehicle crash landed, and right now you can see that a squadron of basically of soldiers is formulating around that area where the Black Cat is at the moment, because nobody knows, of course, if there's anybody inside and whatnot. So that's what's going on, and you got the radio, and you just heard that that message coming through.
We need to get the hell out of here.
I couldn't agree more, Liam. This place is going to be crawling with soldiers in no time.
We can't leave that information for them to have.
Well, thanks to Manny, it's all lost now.
Manny kind of looks at you, disgruntled, clearly. But
he looks at me disgruntled. I kind of turn on him, and I kind of point at that thing and says, "How high tech is that thing? I mean, you can't find out that there's anti-aircraft stuff clicked on a roof somewhere. Fuck's sake. We're coming into military territory and we're shut down immediately? What the kind of hell of organization is this?
Manny characteristically doesn't vocalize anything, any of his thoughts. While you're saying that, on the ground level next to the Black Cat, you can see that the squadron of soldiers is is shouting at the Black Cat, yelling clearly for anyone inside to come out with your hands in the air, with your weapons lowered. And of course, nobody answers because there's nobody inside. But yeah, that's where basically they are at this point.
Can I see the Black Cat?
Yeah.
All right. I kind of damn. Can I do it? I can. I'm gonna do it. I kind of concentrate at it, and I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make a sound come from it, like a really like beep, 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 beep.
Are you gonna include an illusion of explosion or something like that?
I'm just gonna. Well, I'm not gonna make it, but I'm gonna make the sound which Liam he never heard the sound before, but he's gonna imagine what type of sound a device like that's gonna make. Like, I'm gonna explode soon. I'm gonna explode soon. I'm gonna explode soon. And he's not gonna make it very short. He's just gonna keep it going. But just so that the people around it are probably gonna go like, "Holy shit!" and they need to get out of there.
Yeah. All right. You don't need to roll for that. That's quite a simple thing for you to do. Just an audio illusion. When you do that, you do see that everybody, basically, of the soldiers, kind of like takes a little bit of a jerk backwards, and they kind of look at one another, and then you kind of because like that's how movie bombs work, not real bombs, but somebody yells, "It's a bomb!" and everybody kind of like turns around and starts to make it to the buildings behind cover, so you can see that the entire squadron disperses. But as they disperse, every one of you make a was it called perception? Awareness. Make a awareness roll, and if you have like a skill that has to do with detecting something that's off somehow, include that.
So we're just gonna add like perception and awareness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the skill perception. I'm gonna throw that, right?
Yeah.
It's a D20, right?
Yeah.
Let me see.
I got 23.
All right. Nice.
Mr. Brick is holding the guy up in front of him, kind of shaking him, not really paying attention.
Okay.
I got a 6.
Okay. 6. Oh, damn.
Right, let's. I thought I could throw it on the thing, but now I'm getting all kinds of. Get away! There you go. I'll just throw it like this. Let me see. A D20. I rolled a 14 and I add 10. So
Okay.
24.
Okay. Basically, in that case, Geist and Liam both notice that. Excuse me. Around the time when the soldiers start to back away and go behind cover, a mist starts to gather. A unnaturally fastly growing mist. And it's a mist that kind of comes to average human height on the streets, and it kind of comes from between the buildings, almost like a rush of water, kind of like this kind of mist, just kind of like in a Universal horror movie graveyard or something like that, and just kind of heavy mist coming in there as everybody cowers, and as the bomb countdown illusion continues higher and higher, and everybody's kind of like taking cover like that. You see that the mist kind of comes closer and closer to the black cat, not completely touching it. But as the bomb countdown gets to the point of beep as it's about to blow, and of course doesn't really, right as it's getting to that peak, you can see that from the mist, there comes this kind of a parting of the mist, this kind of, because there's a figure coming out, and it's a figure that's sitting on horseback, and both Liam and Geist recognize that it's a figure that's completely pale gray. The horse is pale gray. The man is pale gray. Every set of gear is pale gray. It's as pale gray as the mist itself, and it's translucent. And the man on top of that horse, even from this distance, you can see that he's wearing what would be something like the turn of the 19th century, like something like a cavalry officer from the Napoleon era or something.
Damn.
Walking on top of a horse calmly to basically the opening where the black cat is, and when the bomb illusion goes,
I make it say like, wait, where am I? Let me start over again. And it's a beep, beep, beep. It starts over again.
Okay. At that point, pretty much everybody raises their heads from behind the cover, and you can see that the soldier that Mr. Brick is holding from his leg is looking into to the square and seeing the mist as well as the rider there, and saying, "Oh, thank God." And yeah, you can see that that cavalry officer character just kind of walking closer to the ship and kind of looking around, and he has like this mustache and this kind of officer's hat and the shoulder things with the thing and the thing and the line going there and all that, and he kind of looks around and he lifts his head and looks straight into the rooftop where you guys are, and goes and pulls out his cavalry officer's saber and puts the saber here where it's like completely like the front of his like chest, like in this kind of a officer's maneuver, and immediately all the soldiers around him kind of look at him and then look into the direction that he's looking at, and that's where you guys are. But feel free to intercept where you would have done something before what I just described, because there was a lot of there.
Well, as this guy kind of rides out, I kind of look at the guy that Mr. Brick's holding. By the way, I'm moving away from the angle of the edge of the roof.
Huh?
So I was like, who the hell is that?
You say to the guy?
Yeah.
He says, it's one of the captain's ghosts, and he has a grin on his face.
I look at Geist. Friend of yours?
No clue. And he just begins walking like eerily towards this man. And, of course, we can't see his expression on his face. We don't know what's going on. But he gets real close to him, and he looks at Mr. Brick. All right, Mr. Brick. I think it's time our guest here took a little nap.
Oh, okay.
You see, as he kind of picks him up, he kind of just like tings him in the top of the head. If that doesn't knock him out, I'll ting him again. They'll just keep tinging him until he passes out.
The guy is like, he's sure that you're going to basically kill him. So he's like, oh, no. And then when you ting him in the head, it's like, oh, and you ting. And then he goes out. There you have him like a fish, just hanging there completely limp.
Good work, Mr. Brick. Now, let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Geist, we can't leave that stuff. The boxes, the papers.
For the time being, we'll have no choice but to leave it. What are we going to do, go in there and fight every single one of them? It'll be a war zone from here on out. No, we got to play it low. We'll have to come back and get it some other way.
And at
We
that
also
point, all of you notice it's irrefutable. You see that the mist forms on the rooftop where you're standing.
Holy shit.
Well, scratch that idea. Looks like we'll have company soon.
I grab my the rune that is on my hand, and I kind of my appearance kind of shakes, and I kind of try to look like the guy who Mr. Brick just knocked out.
Okay, no
And
problem.
Also a bit like the uniform that he's wearing and that sort of stuff, and like, oh shit.
Yeah, I purposely step in front of Liam, not completely blocking him, but enough that mist would have to pass through me to get to him. And I'm like, what is that?
Not really having any words to really describe what is to answer Mr. Brick's inquiry, but Guy slowly begins to become insubstantial as he floats up. He looks to the others. Manny, stay near Mr. Brick. Liam, do the same. We're gonna have to break through it at some point.
And at that point, when you're all still on the roof, even though Geist is already insubstantial, you can see that on one of the edges of the roof, the edge that's closest pointing to the direction where the black cat is landed, you can see the mist parting, and from the mist you can see materializing, if you can call it that same exact cavalry officer, Spectre. You can see him up close now as he just comes from the mist as it parts, and it's indeed exactly like you would see in a history book. This kind of like generic captain or something of that sort, where with the described paraphernalia and the hat and the uniform and everything like that, and he has the saber there, and his horse is like neighing, like, and just kind of going with its hooves on the ground, and he's kind of like steadying it with his body movement as the horse is just kind of going in there, and he's just kind of standing there, and you can see through him. He looks pretty much exactly the way Geist does when he becomes insubstantial.
Liam kind of looks at Geist like,
Geist, with his arms folded, begins to walk forward. And he doesn't really say anything at first. He just kind of stares at the guy, kind of waiting for him to make the first introduction.
Hun invaders! And he immediately like raises his sword, and the horse goes to like 2 feet, like, as he's like clearly preparing to go for like a gallop forward to slash at you with the sword. He doesn't aim at Liam though, because Liam is disguised. But the two of you, he's clearly like he has eye contact with Geist especially.
It appears that your men shot down our vessel, and now we're stuck here.
You're just going to talk to him while he's... about to.
Oh yeah. He's gonna do that because he's prepared, but he's just gonna try to talk, and he's gonna try to psych him out a little bit.
All right. What about Mr. Brick?
Still kind of just blocking Liam. I basically stare completely at the horse. I've heard of horses before, but I've actually never seen one alive. I mean, is this alive? I don't know, but it's kind of fascinating. The little man on the horse doesn't really mean much to me. And he figures that Geist is up front, so he's all set to let Geist deal with it.
All right. Well, in that case, since Geist is indeed in front, Geist will have to make a basically an initiative roll against this guy. Oh shit!
Oh no, you're gonna get it now, boy.
Well, what was initiative again?
Initiative was. Initiative was. Doesn't it say your initiative on the character sheet on just
Yeah,
just
it's under the stats.
Yeah, but Jesus. What makes initiative is the combination of wait up. It's right close by let's see. Initiative is agility plus advantages. So if you don't have advantages having to do with initiative, it's your agility.
Okay, I got you. All right, I figured that. All right, that's 17 I got.
Oh, good. Then you have indeed the ability to go first, but I'll just describe what he's basically doing, but you get the chance to basically act as he's kind of like the horse is on its hind legs and the dude is close. Immediately when he gets down, the horse doesn't need to take more than a couple of steps that happen in a second, and already the saber is kind of like cutting air. It's like damn, it's like katana sharp, and it's like as it's coming through, it's like as you're standing there, if you're trying to like not let it phase you or something, you feel as it's immaterial, you feel the air in front of it clearly getting kind of lacerated. It's like it's emitting a physical kind of like cut, even though it's ethereal or something, whatever would be the right term. It's kind of like it's affecting both spectral and physical realms with its weapon. It's like where you can even you being insubstantial, like you can feel when it comes like the cut would like I don't know how to describe it without you getting a hit. You got first initiative, but it's like if you would let him even get this close where you would like dodge like that, you could feel the sword cutting like the edge of the fabric of your hoodie. Like
I think I have a good description of that. It's basically I have the instinct. Like I can feel that sense of mortal danger, right? Normally associated with not feeling that at all when I become insubstantial, but I can tell that this figure itself is also insubstantial. A ghost to a ghost, one might say. And
Exactly.
As this happens, that mortal sense of danger pours back, and he goes back in his mind, and a memory is triggered. And this is back when he was an assistant to Dr. Wonder, back before he had the powers of Geist. Yes, back before he was Captain Phantom.
Make sure to explain it in a way that people who aren't in our Facebook group, by the way, go to our Facebook group. Explain it in a way that somebody who hasn't read the fluff that's been written there understands.
yeah. So he thinks back to a time when before he was Captain Phantom, before he was a major superhero. He thinks back to when he was just a rookie gumshoe detective tagging alongside this charismatic magical man named Dr. Wonder. This Doctor Who like individual with Doctor Strange. If you merge them together, you'd get Dr. Wonder. And while this man had magic to solve all of his problems back then, Geist, otherwise known as Mr. Murphy, all he had were his fists and his gumshoe knowledge of detectivism. And he would just, he remembers the time when they were in the Arabian deserts, and he had to dodge like a blade, so he had to block and then do like a right hook. And he remembers these flooding images going through his mind, this nostalgia, and that's when instinct takes over. And I would like to then use. I'm just going to make a combat check, and I'm going to do it like in a defensive way. So my combat is 6, so I'm just going to go ahead and roll that. Well, that's an 8. All right, so we'll.
Well, you attempted, but
I attempted. That's right. I'm glad I didn't go into any more description. Let's see how that goes.
okay. What is it exactly you were attempting to do with the
I was attempting to do like a judo throw. I was gonna attempt to like catch him by the wrist with my forearm, as he was swinging. Like I would just pour right on in, catch him in like a little judo throw off his horse.
Okay. Well, as you are kind of ready there, and as the sword is coming through, I'll make a judgment call with the dice. How badly it really goes, how well his strike basically goes, to see how well your. Oh fuck! I rolled a 19. Well, as he's kind of like coming with the sword, and you're kind of like cool, but still like you get that realization of mortal danger, and you kind of step in to grab his wrist and do the judo throw off of the horse. When you do that, and you kind of have to go in. You have to go in to grab a hold of his body. The sword just comes in and lashes right like through your arms that were kind of like coming in, and goes basically your arms are like closer to his body, and the sword just continues its journey above your arms, and when it lands right on your forehead, and it doesn't sink into your brain basically, but you can feel like this new sensation of basically a cavalry sword kind of coming and slicing you right on the forehead basically there.
I would like to add in a different description to that. So like as I go in to try to do like the judo throw, all of a sudden a bit of a pain he feels in his own body before that happens. Is it a mixture of age, or is it something else? As he goes in, he begins to have this urging sensation as if he needs to cough that overwhelms him. And all of a sudden, that's enough. That's enough that it takes to throw him completely off guard. And for this more seasoned combatant, this younger, right, guy, to just come right on in and begin to slice. That's when the blade comes across and goes, ah! You
Yeah.
feel a cool rush of blood rushing over his eyebrows. Within his mask, it becomes, well, it would have been red, but now it's this dark gray crimson that just washes over his eyes a bit, pouring over his nose. His top of his cowl has been cut just a bit, revealing a bit of that flesh, if you will, as he stumbles backwards and falls on his ass.
Yeah, and Liam and Mr. Brick seeing that he was in fact insubstantial when this happened, and this fast slice happening, and he immediately just getting what Phil described there happening there. It happens so quickly that it's almost like, wait, what happened? It's kind of like unthinkable in a lot of ways. And yeah, there you see in front of you, Geist just dropping down on his keister with clearly like being injured because the guy with the sword blade is now covered in black liquid. As he's kind of standing there on the top of the horse, as the horse is kind of neighing and kind of repositioning itself. What's Mr. Brick and Liam doing when this goes down?
Liam looks at this like horrified or like shocked, and he kind of drops to the ground and kind of crawls away from Mr. Brick and kind of like goes like, "Yay!" kind of cheers.
Oh yeah, keeping up your appearance. That's right. Gotcha. What about Mr. Brick?
Immediately, any thoughts of wonderment over the spectral horse have disappeared, and Mr. Brick's natural proclivities to want to protect someone kick in. He immediately steps forward, trying to push Geist out of the way, but I think he's insubstantial, so probably my hand goes right through him. And then with that, I use like all my close range attacks to try to grab a hold of the specter, including the horse.
Okay.
And, I don't know if he's substantial or not, but that's what Mr. Brick does. He charges forward trying to grab a hold of him.
Yeah, you will go through him as if you were trying to punch Mist or insubstantial Geist. You can describe all your attacks how you would attack him, but yeah, he's insubstantial as well.
Yeah, so Mr. Brick lets out a roar. He's like, roar! Runs forward, trying to throw Geist out of the way, who his arm passes through it. He kind of is a little upset at that, but then kind of steps forward in front of the horse and the man with the blade, reaches up trying to grab the horse, almost to push the horse over the edge, just to get him out of the way, and he just passes into him and kind of like has to catch himself from falling because the amount of energy he was pushing forth. So now he's on the edge. He spins around and just kind of like staring dumbfoundedly at this man, trying to figure out what he can do.
Okay.
But I will be on the edge of the building now, with my back to the openness. Yeah.
Yeah. As you go to basically attack him and find it to not work, you can see that the officer is again raising his saber and slashing at you as well. It does not harm you. There's no way it's penetrating your skin, but you can see that even though he's insubstantial, you can't harm him. He still can affect the physical world where he slashes with his saber from horseback, and you can feel it going from your shoulder across your chest, and it's no more really than like a chill or like goosebumps kind of like thing, but in no way hurting you and harming.
Yeah, Mr. Brick had seen it incoming, like maybe he did or not, but if he did, he probably would have thrown his arms up because he doesn't want to get hit, because he just saw, Geist get taken down. He has no idea whether he can resist it. So that smacking, hitting, almost sparking off his skin, kind of shatters him back. He notices he's still got his arms and he's not dead. But yeah, it's probably his turn next, as Mr. Brick's contemplating what to do next.
Yeah, he already kind of spent his turn slashing at Mr. Brick, but the thing is that Mr. Brick realizes that Geist is bleeding on the ground. Liam is, even though he is, impersonating, one of this ghost soldiers, most likely. Manny is also kind of on the defensive. Manny is just a really good pilot, kind of, with some other skills perhaps, but he has never displayed
really good pilot, really.
Well, we all make mistakes, but when drama demands it. But still, it's like you feel like you're the person with the most control in the predicament that you find yourself.
Mr. Brick, I mean, looking over at Geist, seeing him on the ground, not being able to touch him, kind of panics. And
Liam kind of grabs his communicator and says, "Slam your hands together real loud." I say kind of softly.
Yeah, so you make a disguise check. You make a check to see if the ghost sees that you're giving instructions to his enemies. What would it be?
Deception.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
It's Liam's forte.
Yeah, that's it's what I do.
Yeah, all of a sudden one of your soldiers is like, "No, do this and do that" to the enemy. Like
yeah, well, I try to do it. I try to do it quietly, of course.
yeah, of course. Depends on how well you roll.
A 28.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty much like almost like a ventriloquist saying it. So yeah, Mr. Brick acknowledges this, and the enemy ghost, without a doubt, didn't hear it.
Yeah, Mr. Brick, even hearing that, follows through with what his mind is the only thing he can contemplate doing. He leaps up into the air, and he's going to use his brick wall attack to damage the top of the building. He's going to come down right where the horse is standing, passing through him, I'm assuming, hit the ground, trying to destroy the side of the building to take him and the guy off the building.
Oh, okay.
He can't fly. I mean,
Okay.
he can't fly yet, so.
Okay.
You want to roll, or?
Yeah. Liam notices that your aid was not taken in, and Mr. Brick, yeah. See,
So, am I using my fighting to hit, or just do the damage?
use the fighting, yeah.
Okay, so it's a 23 to hit.
Okay, that's nice.
The damage is +5 when I'm attacking objects.
Okay.
So I'm +15 to that roll.
Yeah, I don't think you need to make a roll really because when you're using all of your strength, that falls kind of into the realm of where your maximum sort of is. Because if you can like lift a truck over your head, you can. I'm okay with you crumbling the side of the building there.
600 pounds of Mr. Brick leaps into the air, 100 feet up, comes flying down like a meteor, just hits the ground, exploding the bricks everywhere.
Okay.
Rooftop breaking apart.
Yeah. What happens is that Liam and Geist with feeling like blood is going into your eyes from your forehead there. You're not like Geist isn't like mortally wounded or anything. You're just really taken aback by what happened, and also like the blood is flowing from your forehead. It's the area is not one where you'll most likely like bleed to death or anything. But it is something where there's enough blood where it'll get in your eyes and it'll look like you have like a red mask on, even though it's black in this world.
Did Geist's mask fall down?
It's hanging still from the edges there, but yeah, it's like this basically. So the lenses for the eyes might be a little bit off on the mask or something. But yeah, Geist and Liam all witness basically Mr. Brick doing the Hulk smash thing and smashing the edge of the roof. And as the roof kind of starts to crumble, you see that the cavalry officer there kind of like looks underneath him and is trying to kind of clear the footing of his horse. And all of a sudden, it kind of like he falls. Almost like a water flowing downwards. The side of the building crumbles and he starts to fall as well, yanking the mist with him, almost like this flushing of the mist from the rooftop. But as that happens, gunfire is immediately opened on your location. So from the ground, just. So yeah, there everybody is. Everybody is being basically fired upon by gunfire. But if Liam, for example, just kind of lays low, it's most likely not going to hit him. And you have that dome thing, so
yeah. Well, I was already on the ground, so
okay. So it's not an immediate threat, but basically, yeah, that's what happens. The mist kind of goes off of it, but the soldiers that are near the Black Cat are starting to form basically these people on one knee firing and people standing on both feet behind them firing. These little bit of these kind of firing lines there. And there's this kind of siren going off, this kind of air raid, this kind of going off in the area.
As this happens, Geist is, he's on his ass as all this happens, as the building crumbles and shakes. He's kind of sinking slowly through it. And the whole time, his hand is slightly shaking and is moving across his forehead a little bit to see this blood that is now caking his hand now. And it just kind of clenches into a fist as he then disappears underneath of the underneath of the building, just melting right through, only leaving behind tiny trails of wispy fog, if you will, of gray matter. As he dips down into the building below, he starts looking around frantically. Are there any pipes or any loose objects?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he'll grab one of those. He'll just grab that immediately and begin taking that with him. And as he does, he flies immediately upwards, and then you see Geist appear from behind Liam and Mr. Brick, and holding up his cowl just a little bit above his eyes. He goes, "We need to get out of here now. Hurry, come on."
I sort of assumed Mr. Brick went down. I mean, when he was trying to just destroy that section of the roof, I'm assuming he went down with the mist.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
I assumed the guy was going to cut a section of the building off and just ride it down. I mean, what else was I going to do?
Oh, okay. If you want that, then sure.
Yeah,
Oh, but
that's
that
not
would
how he
mean,
could have controlled. I don't know.
yeah, but that would mean that when Geist went down to get the pipe and all that, he would have seen that happen first. So if seeing Mr. Brick fall down with the mist and the rider just going down, if that would in any way make you want to do something different, Geist, then
actually that would.
Okay.
When I grab that pipe, he's going to hide. And he's going to be really close near Mr. Brick, and his eyes are just going to be wide, and we could see a little bit of that flesh now being exposed, a bit of his actual eyes for once, and they are livid as he is now white knuckle grabbing onto that pipe, and he's just sitting there waiting in the shadows near Mr. Brick. Mr. Brick does not know that Geist is nearby him. In this instance, he's actually just waiting to see that horseman comes back again to attack him, and that's when he'll strike.
okay. What happens is that when Mr. Brick kind of goes down with the crumbling side of the building, you see that the horseman kind of evaporates into mist. It becomes mist again, kind of just. And once you come down, basically there's just mist. The rider himself isn't out there, but yeah, there's mist all around you, and there's soldiers kind of coming to edges of buildings, kind of finding places to shoot at you. But again, regular bullets, just when it comes to your tough skin. What about Liam on the rooftop while Mr. Brick crumbles down with the side of the building?
Yeah, Liam is looking a bit like, oh shit, because Mr. Brick went down and Geist also disappeared. So he's just looking at Manny, who is standing there, kind of, and so he's like, motherfuckers. So he grabs his intercom and goes where the hell is everybody? We need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, immediately hearing that, Mr. Brick stands up, shaking off the dirt, kind of looking around for the horse, and the guy doesn't see him. Then you notice that he can't really see much, and adjusts his head mask from the fall. It got all shaken up, and he turns and he's like, "Liam, Geist, you should get away. I'll hold him here and catch up to you." Sorry.
When that happens, basically, you see that the mist, a little a bit away from you, but to basically not that much away from the building where the two are atop of. The mist parts again, but this time a different figure walks through. This time you see a figure that's walking on two legs. He's pretty tall. He has a medieval helmet, or rather an Iron Age helmet on. He has a cloak on, and you can hear this kind of chainmail sloshing kind of as he walks, and you hear this kind of as he grabs hold of a two-armed war axe, as you see a specter of a fully fledged Viking raider walking through the mist, and he has like this this helmet with the nose guard that goes from here to here, and he has like a big beard and long hair and this half cloak and this chainmail, very long chainmail shirt, and he has this two-armed Viking war axe. And he's looking straight at Mr. Brick there as he's coming from there, and he yells something in this kind of like Danish. I don't know anything. I don't know any words in Danish, but something like kind of like something like some kind of a war cry clearly, and he dashes forward with the axe, and every one of you basically hears this and sees this. Liam from the rooftop also sees this. He sees a fully fledged Viking that's as much of a specter as the cavalry officer was before, charging towards Mr. Brick. You know that Geist is down there somewhere, and you have Manny close to you, kind of like looking around, being concerned, and trying to keep himself on top of things. But that's what you see going on down below.
Sorry. Is Mr. Brick surrounded by mist?
Yeah.
I curse under my breath, and I kind of create this row of fans, huge fans that are kind of like just all of a sudden start to blow away the mist.
Okay, from which direction to which direction?
From the building away from the building, so kind of where Mr. Brick is crushed on the side of the building, so pretty much back to where the soldiers are standing and shooting at us.
All right. No need to make a roll about that. That's pretty standard for you again. And the mist being basically just mist, it's pretty easy to pull off. The giant fans appear out of nowhere behind Mr. Brick, and Mr. Brick feels like the bandana just kind of like starts to swirl in the air before you, and if it's not tight enough from the fall, it might even spin around your head. But there you go. You feel the fans, and the fan is blowing the mist back further to where the soldiers are, and with that, you can see that the Viking that's standing there is also kind of like he's not blown off as easy as the mist, but he is kind of like he stands there, kind of like feeling he needs to like keep his stance, like he's not like being blown off like mist, but he's like holding fast.
And Mr. Brick, feeling his cape whipping around him, his headband slightly moving, but it's still tight around his massive head. Making kind of like a quick thank you under his breath to Liam, though not loud enough for Liam to hear it. And he kind of leaps forward and
tries to grab the two-bladed the double-headed axe away from the specter-like Viking,
Okay.
figuring to disarm him.
Okay. Well, it doesn't really work because he's also, insubstantial. But there you go, trying at least.
Yeah.
And you go to grab his axe. What's Geist doing at this moment?
You know what? While he goes out there to do that, Geist will just fly through the ground at very fast speeds towards this man. And as this Viking is sitting there against this wind, he observes his opportunity. And all of a sudden, now he's going to get taken down the way you do in the hood, son. You walked in the wrong neighborhood because now Geist is behind you with a lead pipe, and he's going to knock him right in the back of the head. Bam!
All right. Do a roll. Oh, shit.
Do you want that to be close combat?
Yeah, sure.
All right, here
You
we
roll
go.
a miserable defense roll. So.
Oh, yeah, it's a 20! 26, baby!
Oh, damn. In that case, yeah, you just come like this is like a baseball like style, hit or.
So this is what you see, Mr. Brick. This is what you see. So, you're charging, and like your body once again goes through this ethereal being. But that's when you see guys coming up right from the ground, and like he comes from the mist that's being blown backwards, the wispy trails of his own form, like small tendrils getting blown backwards. As you see a bit of his eyes now, his actual eyes, you see a bit of that flesh covered in that blood in this black and white picture is black. And then in his hands, this big-ass lead pipe as he comes swinging like from the home run from downtown. Bam! Right into the back of this dude's head, and he doesn't see it coming. And then all of a sudden you see his head go as he lurches forward, pushing him out right behind the head, and then repeatedly swinging over and over and over and over again in this wild madman fashion as you hear him yell, "Ah! Ah!"
All right, yeah. Mr. Brick indeed sees, as well as Liam from above, sees sees a ghost, sees Geist beating up a ghost Viking with a lead pipe. So yeah, that's going on.
Yeah, seeing the furiousness of his attack, I actually take several steps back with my mouth just like open, just in awe and in surprise and in fear. I mean, of what this man is doing to the other man. He hasn't witnessed that type of physical display of killing. He's always been more subtle with his dropping a leg into the ground or, phasing someone out of existence where you don't see what happens to him.
Yeah. What about
this is a different side of him that is totally putting off Mr. Brick's vision of who Geist is.
Is Geist kind of like, is he out of control, or is he still like, does he have his faculties, in check? But he's just...
No, he still has his faculties. This is like a moment of passionate of rage, like, oh, you got me this time, and like it's the realization that the blood's coming down, his adrenaline is pumping, and he is a bit afraid because this is the first time he's really been touched for the most part, and now he is in mortal danger, and so like he's frantically, like, things are just falling apart. His mask is starting to fall apart, and so like part of his persona is starting to fall apart. So while he's not completely berserking, there's going to be that brief moments where he's just trying to get it out of his system by beating this ghost brains, and it's like as he stands over.
I'm sorry. Oh, I was just going to ask, what's Liam doing while this is going on? If you had something to add, Phil, feel free to add.
I was just going to add, like, he's just standing over him now with the lead pipe in his hand, now just draped at the side, his chest heaving, Mr. Brick can now see more of the face a little bit, and as detailed, he can see a bit of the eyes now on the forehead, though there is a lot of blood obscuring skin color at this point. There is a pale countenance to him.
Liam is kind of looking at, kind of laying flat on the roof, and is kind of looking at Geist and Mr. Brick, and as he sees Geist kind of going to work on this Viking kind of fellow, and seeing the fan standing there behind them, blowing away the mist. Several thoughts kind of cross Liam's mind, and he's one of them is the most predominant one is the one that he could so easily now kind of create some air current or something and have Geist's mask blow off as he's just standing in front of Mr. Brick. But he thinks twice about it and goes like, nah, I better not do that. It's not.
That's a point of maturity. That's
yeah. He's like, should I now? We're in real danger here. This is not the point where to do this. So he kind of grabs his communication thing and says like, how the hell are we gonna get out of here?
There's a brief moment of silence as he stands over top of this beaten down man that just got smacked with a lead pipe, and after some heavy breathing, he gets on the communicator. All right, we need to head back out to the southern exit.
Before you can finish that sentence, you hear a thunderous roar of ceasefire, and all the assault rifles stop firing, and the Viking gets engulfed by the mist, but the mist does rise a little bit, and as the mist starts to rise and sounds start to dissipate, you hear a very clear and very distinctive set of footsteps coming from towards you from the direction of where the Black Cat and where the soldiers are. And it's a relaxed pace walk with someone who's walking with boots that have those cavalry kind of metal things on the heel where you hear that clink clank, as they're walking. And it's clearly just one person. It's clearly someone who's not a ghost. It's clearly a physical steps. And Liam can see from the rooftop a little bit further before anyone else a single black human shape walking through the mist from basically where the firing positions are slowly to the base of the building on top of which you are, and on the base of which Mr. Brick and Geist are at the moment.
The fans are turned off as I called ceasefire. The fans are gonna go, stop.
Okay.
They're still there, but they stopped blowing.
Okay, and as kind of a physical effect of that, the mist kind of does this thing in the air, and yeah, the Viking gets engulfed in the mist as it rises, and Geist and Mr. Brick can see now that from in front of them a silhouette of someone who has basically the figure where he has long boots that reach almost to the knees. He has like those baggy officer's pants from the early 1900s. He has a kind of belt at this height type of thing where you can see the figure kind of going like that, and you can see that he's holding a long rifle against his chest in this kind of relaxed kind of way that it's not pointing towards you, and you can see that he has one of those, what is it, like officers, is it a half cap or what's it called in English, And
A beret.
no, not a beret. It's like those, like one of those, like.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think half cap might have been the term, but I'm not sure. Anyway, and a kind of a cape that covers one shoulder type of thing. And you see coming from the mist a character who has exactly what I described, a early 1900s, like First World War era officer's uniform with those baggy pants and those boots with those metal metal things on the heels for cavalry style, who has that half cap thing, who has that cape, and who's holding a PSG-1 sniper rifle in this kind of resting mode, like grabbing his own wrist and with the other hand grabbing the handle so that it rests on his forearms there. And he has a mask, a black mask, where the only thing that's open are the eye holes, and one of the eyes is open and the other eye is the eye is closed, and there's a white stripe going on the black mask there. And he's walking towards you. He has his half cap is covered from both sides, as well as his chest, in all kinds of strange military medals. They look like they're from different countries. They look like they're from different eras. They look like some of them are new. Some of them are 100 years old. Some of them are way older than that. And as he's calmly walking towards you, you can also see that on his shoulder there's shoulder pads that are basically the pads of the Ghost Division, this eagle head symbol of the gang. And yeah, you can see there this kind of a character. Never mind this character, he hasn't shown up yet. That's why I didn't show the picture, but it's too late now. Okay, so that's what you see, walking towards you, and stopping in this kind of a what would I say, in this kind of a distance of a 15 feet, 20 feet from you in the mist, so that you can clearly see him and he can see you, and he's there completely vulnerable in front of you, standing there with the sniper rifle resting on his forearms. And he says, and he opens his mouth by saying, so, you're the superhero team that's still around.
With the sound of a lead pipe scraping against the pavement below, the Geist kind of like drags it along and walks right beside Mr. Brick, using it almost like a cane. He leans against it as he could, like, Mr. Brick can hear a heavy breath under his cowled visage. Looks up to him. Yes, the long swords are here.
No one less would have had to do. No one has ever been even a challenge to any of my ancestors. It would have had to be someone with experience and supernatural aid like you. I salute you as a fellow soldier.
Though he cannot see the full expression on Guy's face, there is a bit of a slightly dead look. Though you can see his eyes now. There is a bit of an annoyance in his eyes and his brow as they're slightly furrowed. Compliments received. However, mind explaining to me why it is that you have a convoy coming from the barbarians into your territory?
What lies are these? You've directly invaded our airspace, and you were shut down and showed aggression when once landed. You have proven yourself to be an aggressor and a dangerous one. For us to take you down seemed only the right course of action, but now that you've proven yourselves to be more than simple barbarians, I'm willing to parley and hear why.
We were tracking down a vehicle that was leaving the barbarians' territory. We have no idea where it was heading at exactly, but then we found that its coordinates were heading to your division. We followed it into there in hopes of trying to find out what was going on exactly.
A barbarian convoy in my territory. Our border lines are secure. They have been secured more than any other gang's territory. We have them covered in metal, in sacks, in barbed wire, in cannons, in soldiers. No one is coming through. No one is coming through without me knowing about it, and no one is coming through alive, especially not anyone from the barbarians.
Well, it seems you have a few holes in your defenses, or someone's been playing you for a fool.
Let me tell you
They're
something.
inside here.
There's no one letting in no one in my command. I am my command is unquestioned. My men's loyalty is unquestioned. There is iron discipline in my ranks. There are Navy SEALs, and there are all sorts of elite soldiers in my ranks, and I make sure they follow my lead.
Well, if you look upon the flight recorder of our Black Cat, you'll find that there's a vehicle that very clearly came from the barbarians and is now in your territory, and as we speak, is further being transported. To where? I have no idea, since we got shot down here.
You are expecting me not to take this as a direct insult of my command.
I'm expecting you to use your damn head and actually look at the information I'm providing you.
You are questioning my authority on my territory. And you can see him go, just swipe one of his hands, and you can see one of his medals just starts to glow bright silver, and all of a sudden, on your side, from the mist, walks again the cavalry officer with the sword there, but not like assaulting, just walking there to be like in the line of vision, basically. And and Captain Vanguard is just standing there still, just looking at you.
His eyes wince, but he takes note of this, and he looks at him again. I'll tell you again, our flight recorder has this information on there. You will clearly see that we were tracking down a vehicle going from the barbarians' territory into yours. Now, we would like to find out why that vehicle is there, and I'm sure you would like to find out why that vehicle is there. We can continue our squabbles here, or we could play it smart and actually find out what's going on.
Maybe if I simply take the upper hand again. And he swipes one on his half cap, and Liam can see behind him, all of a sudden on the rooftop, again that same war axe Viking character, Spectre, just merges right behind you, and you can see him standing there tall with the axe, simply standing there looking straight at Liam and Manny.
Behind me?
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Well.
Does Liam do anything?
Liam kind of looks at the Viking and kind of nods and go like, "Yeah, do you have a gun?"
What about Liam's disguise? I was just thinking, have you disguised this part of your hand?
No, but I'm wearing gloves.
Oh, okay. Nothing. The Viking is still looking at you, just and not moving forward, but just standing there.
All right. Well, I'm making ready. I'm calculating plans to leave.
Okay.
As in, if need be, I'll just push myself forward and create a slide where I will slide down the building.
Okay. Okay. Back down in the ground, Captain Vanguard is still looking at the two of you and trying to be firm and assertive there.
Well, you could try to take the upper hand, so to speak. I'm a little bit more familiar now with your abilities. I won't be caught off guard so easily. And then he takes his hand and like pats the side of the massive man that is Mr. Brick, and he says, and if you want to continue this conversation like this with more violence, let me tell you something. I have 600 pounds of violence right here, and I don't think your boys are going to appreciate it when he comes crashing through like that. You're going to lose a lot of your army. You're going to lose a lot of your men. And, who knows? Maybe the barbarians, like the vultures that they are, might sweep in. Or we can actually get to the bottom of this peacefully. The choice is yours.
Well, let's see about that tracer of yours. And he goes and does that on one of his medals, and the cavalryman evaporates into mist again. But he says, "I'm leaving the once as a security deposit up there. You better be truthful in your words. I'm not taking chances with you."
Neither am I with you. I'm going to need one of those men up here from here. They're the ones that operate the vehicle well. I need Manning. He gets in his communicator. Manning, get down here.
And you can see, Liam can see, first of all, Liam hears that from the communicator, and then he sees also that the Viking is starting to walk forward, kind of starting to kind of mean to push you guys, kind of like get a moving kind of thing. Not like attack you and push you off or anything like that, but kind of like okay, we're moving out type of thing, like coming with the axe and all that.
Me too. So he's seen through my deception.
Oh fuck! I forgot about that. No, I forgot about that for some reason. No, of course he doesn't see through your deception. But in that case, he's going to Manny, and to Manny like, and Manny's like, and kind of stands up and he's looking around, and he kind of looks at you questioningly, like, should you help him down, or should he ask for Geist or something like that? He's just kind of looking at you with this questioning look, just to see how you react.
I also kind of look at him, and I kind of show that I don't have a gun.
Okay.
Geist will fly over there and help get Manning down,
Okay.
and he'll quickly like glide him over towards the Black Cat. And as they do, he waits for somebody that he's going to send over to help confirm his message. He's going to look at Manning. All right, Manning, we're going to have to show them the information of our tracker.
He nods. As you start to glide down, the mist starts to kind of dissipate, and Captain Vanguard kind of looks at Mr. Brick and then kind of steps to the side and starts to walk towards the Black Cat.
while they're working on the Black Cat, I'll probably head towards the soldier that Mr. Brick kind of pinged out, and
Okay.
I'll start going through his stuff and start to look for if he has any ID on him or that sort of stuff, or things that I think might be used to pass through checkpoints, that sort of stuff. Pretty much, I'll take anything that he has that I think might be useful to me.
Okay, there is no like factory made, like a legitimate like ID thing or anything like that, but there is a notebook with like the where he's written, like there's written with a pencil, like code of the day, and there's dates, and always like the code has been crossed over after that date has been gone, and today's security code on the pad. He's kind of like a little irresponsible writing it down for an enemy to find, but still he's written it down there, and it's Manhattan, and the coded word is Manhattan, and he has his personal ID, like his driver's license and stuff, and a wallet that has a picture of a wife and or a girlfriend, who knows, and that sort of thing.
All right, I'll take all that and try to find a way to get down.
Okay. Just climbing down is there's a fire escape.
Yeah, I'll use that.
On one side. Okay. Meanwhile, is Mr. Brick going to follow Captain Vanguard and Geist and Manny, or is he going to stay there for Liam, or what is he going to do?
No, Mr. Brick is. I'm gonna get in and just follow a couple steps behind Captain Vanguard, trying to just really look at him. Like, is he really solid? Like, if I punched him, would he go flying? Could I grab his rifle and just kind of twist it into a pretzel and then throw it at him? Could I knock those little badges off his thing and crush him into little dust so that he couldn't summon the creatures again? These are just a few of the things that are going through Mr. Brick's mind as he's following behind. And then he's remembering Liam, and he looks over his shoulder, but then shrugs. He's like, he'll call for help if he needs him, probably.
Yeah. Okay. While Liam is climbing down, you guys get to the Black Cat, and when you get to the Black Cat, there's a lot of those soldiers around who are, of course, not holding their weapons, and not aiming their weapons at you, as the ceasefire has been issued. Some of them are a bit closer, like a group of 5 soldiers is kind of close to the Black Cat. The rest are in kind of like firing positions, more entrenched in the area a little further back, and the soldiers are looking with like very sharp and keen eye at Geist and Manny and everybody. And when Captain Vanguard starts to walk in, they're like they immediately like look like they're looking at one another, very like concerned, like what's he doing kind of thing, but not saying a word. But they clearly look like their leader is cutting a deal with their sworn enemy or something like that. That's the kind of expression they have. And yeah, you get to the Black Cat, and Captain Vanguard is walking behind you, and once you get there, he's like, fine, show it to me.
Do your magic, Manning. Show him what we got.
Manny goes to the Black Cat, walks in through the side door, and kind of like presses a couple of buttons on the command panel there, and then kind of snaps off this tracer panel there, and kind of brings it like a loose monitor, to the outside of the Black Cat there, and and it shows. He kind of reverses the footage, and it shows like Captain Vanguard is looking at it, he's looking at the dot going from east straight to west, straight over his borders, kind of like slowing down there and then continuing on, and he kind of looks at it and almost looks like bewildered, kind of like if you could read the expressions of a single eye, he kind of looks bewildered and kind of like in disbelief, and he kind of like he has a little bit of that body language, and he kind of looks around and goes, "Is there treachery in our lines? Where's our chaplain? Bring him forth, and he will squeeze the truth out of all of you." And immediately the soldiers kind of like stiffen up and look at one another, and say, "Sir, the chaplain defected a week ago, sir." And he kind of, "Well, what about the 2nd Regiment? Their leader the 2nd Regiment defected 2 days ago, sir." Some kind of a plot. My men, who was positioned in security detail on the eastern gates, sir? It was Johnson, sir. No, it wasn't. And he immediately pulls out an officer's revolver and just executes him right on the spot there, and immediately just puts it back into his holster. And the other 4 soldiers are kind of looking at it and kind of like, and one of them like kind of musters the courage to just kind of blurt out, "Sir, with all these defections, can't you really start any witch hunts with possible plots against ours? We already have our numbers are already astronomically low because of all this and because of the National Christian Armies." And he fires that one as well with the service revolver, and immediately like goes, "I will not have my orders questioned." And immediately everyone's like you can see that their assault rifles are kind of shaking as there's this sort of thing going around.
Geist studies every moment of that scene, and his eyes you could see shifting back and forth between him and his men, and there's a bit of like a Manny's right there next to him. He would be able to see a bit of his flesh more now in detail. They'd see that his eyes they look tired, they look worn, they look completely.
Sorry, Phil. John dropped out for some reason.
Yeah. He might have had internet connection troubles or something.
Okay. Well, in that case, let's just continue on. If something dramatic happens, we'll fill him in. Or what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get back on. I don't think it was intentional.
Oh, there he
is.
There he is, back from the dead.
Mr. Brick just zoned out for a moment.
During this, he's watching, and when he talks about the National Christian Army and stuff, like his eyebrows slightly peek up, and his you could see the eyelids narrow as he takes in all that information. This is good tactical information for Geist. He's taking all this in. And when you saw that this guy's steely resolve was starting to dissolve a little bit under the fact that his leadership was being questioned, and he does have in fact subordinates who are just fleeing, there's a smile that creaks underneath of that mask, that cowl of his, but it quickly dissipates after a while, and he stands there leaning on that lead pipe still, with Manning in front of him in the chair. "Well, now, I suppose you believe us now? We do have an issue with the same enemy."
He turns to you very quickly in this kind of, you can see that he's frantic and livid as he's no longer holding the sniper rifle here. He's already holding it here and he loads it just kind of, and he looks at you, not pointing the gun or anything. He's still pointing it at the ground, but basically going. There's traitors everywhere. Around each corner, there's traitors, and within even my own men. I had hoped that the surges of defection had already ceased after my disciplinary action, but it seems that there's still enemies everywhere. Enemies, and he's kind of looking around. What's Liam doing at this point? Because Liam has already managed to climb down to the ground level a little while ago.
Yeah, I'm indeed down at the ground, and I'm kind of thinking about which way to move to get back to our own territory. But I'm kind of standing in the shadows, close to be able to see at least the black cat.
Okay, when you go there, you hear this kind of like a whistle from the side.
I look up.
You see that there's two soldiers there who recognize you for who you're disguising yourself to be, and immediately like do this kind of gesture and are like, Jones, come in here.
I head over there,
and they're immediately like they look kind of shaken. There's two guys there, and they're and the guy who was waving for you goes like, did you see that? Did you see what the captain did? He just fucking executed two of our squadron. He executed Johnson and Smith.
Yeah. I saw.
You've been. We weren't prepared for the coup to happen this early, but it seems like it's now or never. We're gonna have to sneak in. All three of us will sneak in from behind. They will see us coming on the other side of the rest of our squad. We'll have their back. We'll take the captain out and throw down our arms and surrender and join all of us in mass the National Christian Army, and they'll take us in. We'll finally get this fucking nightmare over with. You're with us, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And as after you say that, that other boy kind of like, and they start to kind of like sneak closer.
Kind of, guys, my gun. That stone guy, he crushed all my guns.
And the guy that wasn't talking to you kind of goes back and gives his pistol to you.
Thanks.
And you're just keep going forward. And there's Geist and there's Mr. Brick with the three soldiers now in front of them with the two dead bodies on the ground with revolver bullets in their foreheads with the agitated Captain Vanguard in front of them. And
I asked the guys who moved forward, I said, what about those three guys who landed in the plane?
They're not a part of this. They won't interfere. This is internal gang politics. It's not about them. They won't mind.
All right, but they're not going to be hurt, right? We don't want to start shit with them.
We tried.
All right, okay.
But we mustn't allow the captain to notice what's going on, or he'll summon all of his ancestors, and they'll butcher us in terrifying ways. I don't know how, but he has all these medals, and he can summon the ghosts of his warrior ancestors.
I kind of slap him on the head. You think I was born yesterday? I've seen this shit, man. I know what he can do.
Sorry, I just got caught. And I'm just scared, man.
Put us together. God damn it. It's got to work.
Okay. He continues to sneak there. And as you're getting closer, something happens. As there's basically Manny, Mr. Brick, and Geist near the Black Cat. There's the 3 soldiers on one side, and now these 3 soldiers coming from the other side, with Captain Phantom in the middle, just toting his sniper rifle around, being livid and yelling. All of a sudden, you
That's not
notice.
Captain Phantom. It's the.
Oh, too many captains. Captain Vanguard is, on this tirade about, traitors everywhere and all that, and he goes and he turns to Captain Phantom and tells him that this information, no matter what it is, if those traitors in my lines have brought in barbarian technology or barbarian troops to infiltrate my numbers, then, and all of a sudden you hear this kind of, it gets the sound that's coming out of his mouth just gets muffled. It fades away, and you realize, and you notice that all of you, that the sounds of the ambient world, the surrounding world, training machine gun fires, the possible wind sounds, and anything like that, it all mutes away completely into this, like if you were wearing like protective ear mufflers, whatever they're called, just kind of this just going. Everything just, the volume of the world around you simply goes away. And all of a sudden, you feel this.
I duck and take cover.
Okay. You feel this wind, which you don't hear, but you can see that Captain Vanguard immediately notices the muting thing, because he can't hear himself, and he goes like kind of like that, kind of like twitching around. And then you see everything starting to lose their light. Every tone, the lightness of all the gray shades around you that you see on every face, on every surface, starts to also get a little darker. And then you don't really hear it, but your bodies feel it. There's this incredibly loud, like this earthquakingly loud, this nuclear explosionally loud sound of a heartbeat, a single heartbeat coming from the sky directly above. Just this huge boom, boom, just this kind of, you took the sound of a heartbeat and slowed it down 1,000% and gave it huge, like thunderous bass to it. It's like something that makes you almost skip a heartbeat yourselves when you hear it from above, just this. And when that happens, every shade you see in front of you, these light particles that are being like reflected and seen through your eye by your eyeballs, they become like inverted. They become like photo negatives. Every pale shade becomes a dark shade. Every dark shade becomes a pale shade in this negative way. And all of a sudden, during this single heartbeat, boom, boom, what happens is all of you get this kind of a twitch in your neck and shoulder area that makes you kind of like everyone twitches and everyone feels like the impulses, the electric impulses going in their brains just going haywire. You feel like the highways of your brain get like strained to their absolute maximum capacity. You feel almost like neuron pathways get like severed and then reformed through all sorts of crazy electric kind of processes in your mind. It's almost like you feel all these kind of shakes and shivers around your bodies, all the way from your heads down to your toes and back up, where you feel almost like certain aspects of your that hold your bodies together get like torn and reformed and torn and reformed. And it's this really like for each of you something flashes in this kind of like, it feels like your brain is being kind of like pressure cooked. And these flashes with Mr. Brick, you feel these kind of like flashes of you being in a one of those test vats that those kids are being held in, you being in one of those vats in this kind of calm manner, in this kind of a baby-like way. And then outside of that vat, there's hundreds upon hundreds of children who are being, who are suffering and screaming in pain as syringes are being stuck on them, and as bulges, form on their bodies, and as their teeth are pushed out by protruding gums, and as their eyeballs pop out of their heads with bulges just happening everywhere, with you being in this perfect symmetrical calm in a stasis pod, with everything, this kind of suffering happening all around you while you're like peaceful. This is like a nanosecond flash, just like it, and it feels like ice picks getting jammed into your brain, kind of thing. And with Liam, you feel this as well, as you've already taken cover in the ground. You're like laying there, almost like feeling these kicking moves with your feet, with your heels kind of carving the sand beneath your body on the ground there, as you're kind of convulsing there, as you also feel these same feelings, but you get this flash of these black, red-eyed, sharp-teethed creatures gnawing on human flesh, but with you in the middle, engulfed inside the edges of the reflecting pool in the base of the long swords, being engulfed in the material that's in it, in this substance that you've made contact with, this some sort of a magical essence containing thing from another planet that you've communicated with. It's something that you're kind of being engulfed in, almost like being like engulfed in some sort of almost like being in a womb or something. And outside of it are these black creatures just ripping on, tearing on human flesh. And you see, like, in that flash, there's recognizable figures all the way from family members to friends you might had as a kid, and all these kind of different people, your colleagues at the moment, all getting like gnawed by these black, red-eyed, sharp-teethed creatures, as you're safe and sound in this goo. And Geist getting these flashes of basically being in one of your nightmares, where you're in a mass grave with all these bodies engulfing you, and you basically becoming insubstantial, while this pressure of dead bodies would normally compress and crush a physical form with their sheer weight. You're insubstantial and safe, while they're like being crushed on top of you, and they're all like doing these perverse kind of gestures of these kind of masturbatory, these kind of like rubbing their bodies and sticking their tongues out and moaning type of things that you saw in one of your nightmares, as you're kind of like in this kind of fetal position, kind of like safe from the world, as the world around you is just just horrible pain and suffering and misery. And again, you see people like your dead wife as one of the people in the mass grave. You see your 2 kids there who are with your mother-in-law, safe and sound in the real world, but here they're dead bodies there, and all this kind of these kind of subconscious things about each of your psyches and your possible paths and alternate realities, whatever it is, but something about you that just in this kind of half a second or this kind of microsecond just kind of like happens, just this flash in front of you, and then all of a sudden it's all over. All the audio is back, all the colors are back into the gray shades that you knew them as, but you see in front of you, Liam is already on the ground, but both of you and Manny have this where you're basically like falling to the ground, almost like someone who's just been shot in the head, like in a by a firing squad or something. Your knees completely give out and your upper body is kind of stiff as you start to fall, and you see Captain Vanguard also exhibit this exact same pattern where he's also that's same thing, but the soldiers around you do not do that. Only you superpowered things do that, and as you fall to the ground, as you have that thud as you fall to the ground, you also see that every single bird from the sky drops dead to the ground. And you can, if you have the mental faculties basically to assess your surroundings to the point where you can see the sky, you can see that the sky has turned completely black. The clouds are now in a spiral formation, and there's an incredible thunderstorm going on, just like a huge like and all of this happened within a second. A single second is all it took. It was just, and in that time you had this sensation of all of your senses being basically numbed out, hearing this single heartbeat that killed all the birds from the sky and gave you these visions and took your legs from under you. And something inside you, inside your brain, feels like it's been tampered with somehow, in some way that it's impossible to articulate really into even coherent thoughts. But that's what suddenly happened as the soldiers with Liam were about to creep in, and as the other soldiers were looking, shocked at the executed squad mates of theirs, and as you guys were just standing there waiting to see what happens, and Captain Vanguard was, in a tirade, all of a sudden the cataclysm shifted. Something changed, and you don't know what, but it's not fun. And you're free to describe what's going on with your character as that happens.
Geist is going to be he's going to be falling upon the ground, landing upon his knees. He's going to be almost gasping for air in a lot of ways. And as he does so, he begins searching his person frantically, and he grabs a pill bottle and begins to frantically get it open. And as he does, he just begins pouring out sloppily some pills. And then underneath of his mask, you see him shoving them into his mouth and taking a hard swallow as he hastily puts the bottle cap back on, but then leans up against what's left of the black cat, perhaps behind the seat of Manny, as he sits there and begins to breathe heavily, coughing vigorously. Still that blood, which has now began to dry just a little bit, still runs profusely down his brow, over top of his eyes, which are now wide, his pupils dilated as he begins looking about. He's registering the world around him and everything that is going on, but it's being processed at a slower rate. He looks up. What was that? What was that? Manning.
You can see Manny on the ground. Manny is convulsing in the way someone would if they had just gotten a bullet into their stomach. Not so much so that you would think he has a bullet, somebody shot him, but he's basically like holding onto his body and just kind of like in a fetal position and kicking with his legs on the ground, and he's like twitching, and you can hear this kind of and this kind of pain gruntings that he's doing. And you can see that Captain Vanguard is on the ground, and he's on his knees with his forehead on the ground, holding his head and just being still, basically there in this kind of, on his knees, head on the ground, just holding his head and kind of shaking a little bit.
And while that happens, he's looking around. He can hear the plip, 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 plip of the birds falling on top of the black cat and like slamming onto the glass, and then looking up and seeing the thunderstorm and stuff. He begins to reach up to the back of the seat to try to haul himself up as best as he can, but he feels so nauseous. He feels so tired. He feels worn down again and again. But he finds that will, that little flame that's been burning like a tiny little candle. He finds it within himself to keep on going once more. And he pulls himself up just a bit like a rickety old man. He looks over at Mr. Brick. Mr. Brick. Mr. Brick.
Yeah,
What about
no response.
what's going on with him?
Yeah, nothing is coming from Mr. Burke as he has down to one knee with his hands clasped on the sides of his head, unable to deal with the images that he saw for those split seconds. His psyche splits and separates and moves into the only safe spot he has ever known his entire life, and that is the cage that was created by the scientists that he has replicated in his mind. And he steps into it, looks sad, but then just closes and locks the door.
Okay. What about Liam?
Liam has already, when the sound just faded out, he already dropped to the ground, expecting some kind of explosion or something or whatever, and not realizing that it was far worse than just an explosion. He's kind of shaking on the ground, not as much as Manny was or anything, but just panicking almost, and he's trying to get to his pockets, and meanwhile is trying to bite at his gloves to try to get his gloves off, and as he has a handful of runic stones in his hand, he just wants to hold them and kind of search through them, but they drop to the ground, so he kind of starts scrambling through them, clearly looking for a very specific kind of rune, and getting more and more panicked the longer it takes for him to find it, which is strange because usually he finds the rune that he needs almost instantaneously, but finally he has it, and he kind of presses it against his forehead and just starts to close his eyes and just starts to murmur and lies there on the ground pressing this rune too hard. There's probably some blood coming down from his from under his hand, and murmuring to himself.
Okay.
Kind of doing. He searched for for context. He was looking for the runic symbol of mind and thought, and he pressed it against his head, and is now trying to create a magical effect around his head, because he noticed that something happened to his mind and something happened to his brain, and he's not sure what, and he's not sure if he could correct it, but he's trying.
Okay. With everyone doing their own thing there, Geist notices that with Manny convulsing there on the ground and kicking, he all of a sudden lets out a sound which he hasn't really never, at least you're noticing, let out, which is a scream basically of pain. He just like the just turns into just and you can see like his arms just flay like that, and all of a sudden there's just these grotesque intestine-like tendrils that just shoot out, like whip out as he flings his hands, and it looks like as if his hands would be disemboweled and the guts would just kind of fly everywhere, and it's like squirts of blood and these yanked out veiny intestine-like tendrils just kind of yank out of his fingers, out of his hands, and he's just like groaning on the ground and puking some kind of gel-like puke as he's on the ground, with veins popping all around him as he's just kind of convulsing there. I don't know if Phil, you're trying to say something, but you're at least muted.
During this whole time, he gets up and this is to Vanguard, right?
No, that was Manny who was to whom that was happening. Vanguard is still on his knees, holding his head, just shaking.
Gosh, Geist walks over there and tries to like grab him by the shoulders, and he calls out to Mr. Brick, to anybody. Mr. Brick, Liam, something's wrong with Manny. Manny, hold in there. Come on, Manny. As he like grabs his shoulders and shakes him, tries to get some life into him, but he doesn't know what to do. He can't help him in this situation. He just grabs and holds onto his head. Hang in there, Manny.
And as you're holding on to his shoulders, you see that he kind of yanks his head backwards as he's just and he always wears that turtleneck polo shirt, that black polo shirt. As he yanks, it kind of rolls down a little bit, and you can see that there's two things that it reveals when it goes down. What you see is that there is a scar, a deep scar that goes basically from ear to ear, where his throat has been slit at some point, and that is rebuilding itself. That is healing itself, basically, an old wound that is kind of opening up into these kind of like almost like these kind of cords, these kind of muscle fibers, and they're kind of knotting themselves back together. And the other thing that you notice as that's going on is that he has a neck tattoo here, and the neck tattoo is the gang symbol of the Barbarians.
I knew it. I always knew. God damn.
Which is, of course, the double-bladed axe that forms a bee-looking sign.
So he looks at this and he sees that tattoo there, and you know, the compassion that he had for a moment begins to bleed away like the blood from his forehead, and he grips tightly up on his shoulders and just looks at him. What's the meaning of this? You working with the Barbarians? What the hell's the meaning of this? And he begins like shaking in rage.
And you start to hear Captain Vanguard on the ground just shaking, "Traitors! Traitors everywhere!" And yeah, you can see that Manny's throat is still under construction. So he was able to scream for pain, but he might not be able to form coherent words. Plus, he looks like he's in incredible pain. So that's also something that might work to him not being able to verbalize any answers.
He'll end up he'll look up to Mr. Brick and Liam. What the hell does this mean?
Liam is still a reasonable distance away from you guys.
He's got.
With Liam, I'll just quickly cut in that with Liam, when you're pressing the rune on your head and you're trying to like calm yourself and all that, you feel like it's calming you. It has a calming effect on you. Pressing it on where you can like have your mental faculties and all that, but you feel still this kind of like throbbing and this kind of almost like this that at any moment the Fist of the North Star brain bulging thing is gonna happen, and all of a sudden you have this kind of a you hear this kind of a whale song, not in your ears but in your mind, and you remember it's the same communication that the reflecting pool entity used when you communicated with it. And when you hear that with your brain, which you've never heard from like a distance or anything like that before, you all of a sudden hear its whale song. All of a sudden you feel like it's numbing all the pain and the jarring in your brain, and you indeed feel like you're getting back to having your faculties to yourself.
All right, excellent. I make sure it's all back to what's it supposed to be before I do anything else.
Okay, but while you gain your faculties, like when you're like, whew, that's when you start to hear Captain Phantom's comments that he's making.
Geist's comments that he was making.
Sorry, yeah. Getting back.
Anyways, you hear him on the radio, on our communicators. Liam, get over here quickly. Something happened. I don't know what it was, but it looks like we have a traitor amongst our midst.
And at that point, you hear from your communicator this kind of crackled, mangled up, this kind of.
So I don't hear what Guy says, or
you hear it. Yeah. You hear that.
Hear it. Okay, it's not
like
also,
right after he says that, you hear that from your communicators. I mean, you're a distance away, but you were creeping closer to do the assassination thing. So you're close enough to where you're hearing distance away from guys.
So once my mind is somewhat at ease, I kind of pull down the rune, and there's this little cut where I slammed it too hard, and I kind of look at the runes lying on the ground, and I kind of look at the two guys I was with. Where are they now?
They've dispersed. No, sorry, it took only a second. They have kind of gone away from you. No, wait. Sorry. Just trying to think, what would the characters do if they saw their friend convulsing on the ground with that not affecting them at all? They're basically standing there with their assault rifles, kind of like looking around and looking at you and saying like Jones, are you all right? Jones, what the hell are these? And one of them is like poking at the rune stones with the tip of his boot.
Go on without me. Go on.
Well, sure. they're kind of like, something's up with the captain as well. This might be our chance. Hope you're all right, Jones. We'll take it from here. And they start to go forward, leaving you there. And and then Geist says that it looks like we have a traitor amongst our midst, or whatever it was that you said.
I get up and I kind of pull my hand, and the stones kind of just regather and kind of shoot back into my pocket. And I look up and I kind of try to see what's going on. Is the execution of this spectral kind of guy, not Geist, about to happen, or what?
As you look onward, you see that basically Mr. Brick is almost catatonic mentally. He's just laying there, kind of like on his knees, just with his head down, just kind of at the moment dead to the world, kind of thing. Geist is above, Manny holding on to him, and looks furious, and Captain Vanguard is on the ground on his knees, just holding his head. And as the soldiers that were by your side start to run towards him and make eye contact with the 3 soldiers that were left there before this all happened, they all look at one another and like, this is our moment, and they kind of like go to point their guns at Captain Vanguard, and all of a sudden he lets out a and all of a sudden above him this mist just puffs into the air, just and there is this this group of ancestors from like the last 100 years, all having different versions of some sort of a submachine gun, just shooting around the Captain Vanguard that they're protecting, who's on the ground. You can see like someone from the First World War with the kind of the machine gun, and one guy from the Second World War with the kind of those kind of the one with the holes all around the muzzle, the kind of thing, and all these there's like 3 of them, and they're like, and they shoot this volley of bullets, and all 5 of these conspirators who were about to murder Captain Vanguard fall down dead with blood squirting from bullet holes, and immediately those ancestors vaporize. But as a result of that, Captain Vanguard seems to be groveling with even more pain on the ground, just not on his knees anymore, again like Manny, kicking and screaming and holding his head.
How many soldiers are there around everybody now at this time?
They're bunkered up in the building, so they're not close by.
Okay.
But they're still like you can hear this kind of chatter that they're wondering what's going on, and they're like, there's people who try to look with binoculars and stuff, but it's a chaotic situation, and nobody has the balls basically to yell out a command because they don't want to overstep their authority with Captain Vanguard being there and all that. He has basically people being apathetic because of being afraid of the consequences if they overstep their boundaries, kind of thing.
I start to run towards Geist, and as I do, my camouflage kind of just drips off me, and I return to my normal appearance.
I see you run towards me, and he begins to let go of Manning and grab onto his lead pipe, and then using it as a cane, props himself up a bit and stands up erect. Liam, look at his neck. He's got the barbarian tattoo right there.
I look at him. Is he still shaking and that sort of stuff? And are there tentacles coming out?
Yeah, and all the tendrils are, what would I say? They're like a meter and a half in length. From all his fingers, they're like these long things, and he's convulsing there, and when you're looking, you hear from your communicators again this kind of respond.
I grab the same rune that I used on myself, and I kind of slam it on his head as well, and I kind of start doing a similar incantation as I look at Mr. Brick, and I grab a different rune in the other hand, and Captain Phantom all of a sudden appears in front of him, and you hear like, Mr. Brick, snap out of it. We need you.
All right, you're free to describe what happens.
First off, the intermittent voice we hear coming over it, is that a female voice?
Which intermediate?
The voice that's coming over the communicator.
Oh yeah. It's Tanya Vasilievich.
I was assuming there too was. I didn't want to jump.
Yeah, for some reason I didn't realize to mention that.
Yeah. Yeah. Even before the Captain Phantom appears before me, Mr. Brick hears that sound, and it jumpstarts him as that is a sign of authority to him, and his natural instincts are to immediately listen to that woman in power. And he goes up to the door and looks out the window and tentatively opens it. And as he does, obviously, everything zooms out of his normal vision. He begins to encompass everything that's happening around him. And then with Captain Phantom appearing before him, he kind of steps back. He's like,
"Oh well, if he's already moving, Liam won't do it. So it's only if he's really apathetic, sitting there and not reacting to anything."
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he probably would have started moving before.
And then he doesn't do it.
Slowly though. So yeah, so I slowly move and begin to stand up and looking around and, taking stock of everyone around, and turns towards Manny. He's like, "What is Manny okay?"
I don't know, but he won't be for long. Look at this fucking traitor right here! And he grabs him, and he pulls down that, the tendrils are all flailing about, and he pulls down the turtleneck, showing that tattoo. You fucking say this! He's a goddamn barbarian! Ah! He just throws him back down on the ground.
Wait.
Liam kind of slaps Geist. Like, step out of it, goddammit! This might be in the past.
Yeah, Mr. Brick wipes.
And you actually do get the slap in, and you catch the cloth, and the cloth is removed, showing off the face. As he was not insubstantial.
Oh,
damn! Yeah, I was holding on by a couple of threads. Yeah.
But you see,
you're free to decide whether that blood from your forehead covers enough of your face, but that's up to you.
Well, I have something else different in mind. Now you get to see the reason why Geist covers up his face, for he doesn't look very recognizable. Imagine, if you will, a Freddy Krueger-like visage, but not nearly as like fully Freddy Kruegered out. You know what I'm saying? But you see those scarring, that severe facial scarring covering the face, and all that such, and it's not as lumpy, but it looks like there has been like severe burn marks, and parts of his face is slightly stretched in other directions, and gnarled all to hell, and they look like they've been exposed and burned to a certain degree, and his teeth are like slightly kind of showing as this happens, and it is the face of disease, the face of perhaps of other ailments that has ravaged his form. And he doesn't even notice at first that the cowl is gone. But as he registers what has happened after the slap, he looks over towards it, and he has this bright, this eyes all wide, this pale visage in this black and white world of this slightly mangled form. It looks familiar, however. You could tell, perhaps those with keen memory can piece
True
together who it is.
True fans
This
might know.
broke. Yeah, true fans might notice, perhaps, this broken visage, and he quickly puts his hand up against there, notices the cloth isn't there, and is just shaking with the blood as it covers part of his face. And he begins to frantically cover the cloth back over his face, and he leans back over the damn chair. Never do that again, Liam.
There's anybody there? This line is incredible. Immediate emerges.
This is Geist. Come in. Over.
Something attacking the city. And at that point, you hear this, just as you, some of you might be able to make out that the soldiers in the bunkered out positions almost look like they've made up their mind and they're about to get into positions to fire when all of a sudden a thunderous roar, a thunderous dinosauric roar just booms out of the city. Just this kind of roar where it just shakes everything up, and everybody just, the soldiers kind of go from their positions backwards and start to like a disarray begins all around you, disarray and madness, and this incredibly loud roar completely overtakes all sound around you, and even little stones shake on the ground when it's heard, and the radio keeps saying, "Mobilize! Airborne! Giant monster!"
And with that, Geist flies straight up into the air as high as he can go. As he does so with his, going ethereal, phasing right through the roof of the Black Cat, going as high as he can. As he heard that last comment, he looks around and to see if he can find the direction.
And as you're getting upwards, like everything around, like it's already, you can hear in your ears this. And as you get above the buildings into the air, you can see in the distance just this a roar of this giant creature. There's this, just Godzilla size thing in the middle of the city, stomping around. It's this kaiju, exactly. Yeah, it's this thing with these stompy two legs, long back, walking with two legs, with these shriveled hands, one clutching tightly around its against its chest, and the other one being like this shriveled up kind of hand with this incredibly excess amount of loose skin that just completely covers its eyes, comes off of its cheeks like a mastiff, and with its lip yanking down, with its sharp teeth just kind of poking upwards, and it's just roaring and it's just the stomping is like an earthquake. It doesn't have a tail or anything like dorsal spines or anything like that. It's just this kind of a this kind of it has the same sort of proportions as kind of like a dwarf, like a not a fantasy dwarf, a real life dwarf with these stumpy legs and this long spine and this big head. But it has that kind of it's like leathery, like this skin that's just yanking everywhere in these shriveled arms. The skin is just like almost like bat wings just flapping there, and he's very slowly taking very slow steps, clearly being blind, and just roaring with spit flying everywhere, and there's just this incredible amount of just noise, this incredibly loud roars and stomps and explosions happening, and yeah, there's the Godzilla theme in the background, of course, ringing, and that's what Geist sees.
When that happens, when he sees this incredible visage before him, his eyes go wide, and the cowl that he tried to hastily put back on slides back off, and he looks towards that, and he grits his teeth. You gotta be fucking shitting me with this.
Geist remembers that when the cataclysm happened, a lot of the people who are now superpowered people got their superpowers. The more violent, grotesque, and gruesome and inhumane they are, the more likely it is they got it when the cataclysm came. Like people like Ironside, he didn't have those metal things protruding from his body. People like Mistress, who wasn't brainwashing people into becoming her slaves, and all these different things. Same for Captain Vanguard and all these other people. And now that this new thing happened with the dome, with this thing that you all went through, with seeing Manny's tendril fingers protrude out of his hands, and all these things happening, there must be others who are also either gaining powers or their powers getting expanded somehow into something even more nightmarish, and this seems to be something spawning out of that.
Immediately, he comes flying back down with the tendrils of wispy gray trailing just behind him as he like immediately crashes back down, landing on his feet before you two. His eyes are wide and his face and expression is that of shock. All right, change of plans. We have to head to the middle of the city. There's that goddamn monster on the loose.
Another roar.
What the fuck is that?
It's another metahuman. The most severe mutation I've seen yet. A giant. Is stomping around in the city as we speak.
Wait, what?
While this has been going on, Manny has regained much of his composure with the rune that Liam slapped on his forehead, and he's stopped convulsing, and he started to breathe through his nose regularly, and he appears to be a lot calmer.
I take the rune back. I look at Geist. What?
What do you think? And he grabs you, and then you feel yourself being lifted up higher into the air. And until like you see the same thing that Geist had seen, like that is what I'm talking about.
And when you see it, you see its mouth just as it opens as much as it possibly can, because the loose skin is covering much of its mouth, and when it opens as much as it can, there's like proportionately there's this very small mouth hole, and from that mouth hole is coming this projectile vomit of what looks to be some sort of supernatural napalm. Just this burning puke, basically. This just, and it's just spreading it across the buildings that it's standing close to.
How far is it away from us?
Half across the city.
Okay, so outside of my reach.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's so big that you basically see it because of its largeness. It's by the border of your territory and the barbarian territory.
Geist then quickly lowers you back down to the ground. As he does, he goes, "Do you see what I'm talking about now?" As he gently puts you back on the ground next to Mr. Brick.
I sit down.
All right, we need to mobilize and find a way to neutralize this creature.
What do we do with Manny?
Forget him. This isn't the time or the place to worry about it now. We have bigger fish to fry. And he looks over in that direction, quite literally.
We can't leave him with this crazy guy. And he points at Captain Vanguard.
Well, if you don't mind, Mr. Brick, you can grab him and take him with us. Liam, you can hitch a ride with Mr. Brick. I'm sure he has no trouble picking the both of you up and jumping alongside as I fly over there.
I can do that, Liam.
Wait. Liam stands up. We're going towards that thing?
We have to stop it. Otherwise, it's going to end up destroying the damn city.
Roars again.
Captain Phantom shudders at that, and you can see him hold up an arm, and you kind of see him shake a little bit from the reverberations. We have no choice. After all, we're the Long Swords. This is our damn job.
And at that point, you can see that Manny is trying to make his way up. You can see that the tendrils are protruding backwards slowly, and he's stiffly trying to get up from the ground. And almost in this kind of drunken man's balancing problems this type of way, he's kind of like shuffling into the black cat and going in to sit on the pilot seat there and going like, and you can hear the engines just.
Manny, the wing blew off.
And he turns and says, "Then make a construct."
Mr. Brick gasps.
And you can see Manny himself go. And flappy tendrils just kind of as he yanks his hand there.
Fuck it. I'm out. This shit is too crazy. Liam stands up.
It's not crazy. You know how to make wings.
I'm not talking about fucking wings. I'm talking about fucking 100,000 feet giants thrashing the city.
I don't think he's that big, Liam.
God damn it, you're stupid. Oh, motherfucker. God.
Geist grabs you by the collar and then like yanks you towards him. You listen here. You signed up to be a part of the Long Swords. This is what you have to do. This is a part of the damn job about being a hero. This is the shit that we have to deal with.
Oh hell no. No. I was in an advisory position only. I've been pulling all over this shit. I ain't doing this shit no more.
Liam, we're superheroes. Even Captain Vanguard said we were superheroes. Now we get to do superhero stuff.
I'm no superhero. I am no superhero. I am not even a hero. And I really don't even like you two.
Don't say that, Liam.
Okay, maybe
I don't
you,
care.
Mr. Brick, but
I don't care if you don't like me, Liam. I don't care if you don't like the outfit. I don't care if you don't like the damn city. But this is where you're at. and you have the ability to make a fucking difference, you need to make one now. If you don't want to, then leave. But I'm going to do what I can do now. And he lets go of you. He begins walking away. There's a bit of a limp in his form as he does so. And then he begins to slowly, with each step, begins to lift off and then fly towards the center of the city. His cowl removed, his face revealed, the wind brushing up against it.
Mr. Brick holds an arm out towards Liam. Come with me, Liam. We'll do it together.
I don't want to do it. Why? I haven't been promised anything. I'm not doing this shit for free.
We can't let Geist face it alone.
Why the hell not? I was left alone on that roof. You guys constantly, no, Liam, we'll protect you. Where the fuck are you guys? Nobody's protecting me. Bullets don't pass through me. They don't bounce off me.
Well, Liam, you have powers that we don't have. You can create something from nothing.
So what?
I don't know, Liam. I just think that you're powerful and strong and a better person than you think you are. You should come with us. And if not,
I'm
then
the fucking best person of all three of you.
with that, it's almost as if you kicked Captain Mr. Brick in the balls and you felt it. You just see a shocked look on his face. And he kind of turns half away and he looks back over his shoulder. You're right, Liam. I'm not a good person. But I'll go and try to do my best to be a better person. And Mr. Brick just starts walking away.
On the intercoms, you hear Geist. This is Geist. If anyone can hear me, I'm heading towards the center, towards the giant. We'll be engaging shortly. Have all police forces evacuate as many people as possible. I'll try to distract it and get it away from the main populated center of the city.
All right. Because the distance is the rest of the longswords heard that perfectly. You can't be sure if Tanya Vasilievich heard that correctly because the signal coming from her end was so terrible. But Liam and Mr. Brick hear that fine. But yeah, is Mr. Brick walking towards the inner city, basically?
Yeah, he's doing that thing where you slowly walk away, hoping the person will say, "Hey, I'm gonna go." But if he gets far enough away, he's gonna jump. He's hoping that Liam turns and says he wants to go. So I'll give him a couple, like maybe 50 or 60 steps. If he doesn't say anything, then well, I'll wait and see.
I kill this fucking monster, and then my mom gets out of jail. Are we clear on this? He grabs the intercom. Are we clear on this?
Quite clear.
I run towards Mr. Brick.
With that,
now.
you see a huge smile. Mr. Brick grabs you under the arms and just kind of leaps. He's like, "Hang on."
Before you jump, you can just see Manny behind you sitting in the Black Cat, kind of just trying to push the pedal.
I flip him off and I kind of have Mr. Brick jump off.
Okay. As you grab Liam and jump off, yeah. You basically, Mr. Brick can jump quite quite a large distance. I'm allowing each and every one of you to use basically your own discretion and imagination, if you wish, for the rest of the session to basically expand your superpowers in any way you wish, because basically what happened to Manny, what happened to whoever turned into this giant monster, this cataclysmic shift that happened fucked up with your powers to the point where they will inevitably expand in some way, strengthen or expand in some way, which is why I asked you guys to save your experience points for this. So if you wish to just improvise something, some kind of power thing for your character, or something you want to explain, or just give some sort of a narrative reasoning or whatever, you're free to do so. If you don't want to do it yet, you're free to hold on to it to the point where your character discovers it later on. But inevitably, all your characters, having experienced this, will be more powerful by a long shot. So yeah, Geist is flying through the air, and Liam is being held by Mr. Brick as he's leaping through the air, holding him. As an example, if Mr. Brick's jumping ability would be greater or something like that, that's plausible, or anything like that. Just feel free to use that if you wish. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a bump that immediately when he grabs Liam, he does leap, and he's aiming for the highest tower in the area, so he can do that thing where he bounces from rooftop to rooftop. But Liam and him find themselves leaping way past that building as the next step launches us way. That's like almost 500 feet. So we launch way almost 5 times farther than I was expecting, because I had to really push the limits of my leap. And we're going. You even hear him go, oh, as if we're gonna fall. And he looks over at Liam, because we have the time as we're flying through the air. Smiles, and then just kind of like pulls him closer to brace for the landing. And I figure maybe we kind of come flying down and smash into a lower building. I have to kind of turn and hit the wall with my shoulder absorbing the impact as we drop down between the building. And,
Okay.
I have extra padding form around me.
Thank you.
So you don't just accidentally squeeze him too hard.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I mean, I might just bump into him, but he's also rock hard, so that doesn't really help me.
Yeah. Okay, so there's basically cushioning there in your armpit.
Which makes it way easier to hold him too. Now I can squeeze and not be afraid to hold him tighter.
Yeah.
Then I look over and can you make a handle in your bubble?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, you do it.
I form a handle.
Excellent. So yeah, so immediately Mr. Brick grabs the handle, and it's much easier, and he leaps up, grabbing the wall, and he just climbs up to the top, and then he's like, "Hold on, Liam," and he runs and just leaps now with his new 500 feet.
Liam kind of looks at like at what?
All right. and as you're leaping, at one point, Geist is like, Geist can see while he's flying that Mr. Brick is like jumping, like further than where and faster than where you're flying at the moment.
As soon as I kind of get into reach of this monster, Liam kind of grabs his runes and kind of throws it up in the air, and it kind of starts swirling around him, and he just like, motherfucking bitches, as you see these katana, kind of huge ass katana swords kind of appear, and they in the air, and they kind of just like fall down on him, and like, well, not just fall down, but like with almost being pushed down into him, like shish kebabbing him from the top, just everywhere.
Okay, like for its entire body.
Yeah, it's just like they're dropping down on his head, through his body, through his head, in his neck, and his shoulders. Like as many katanas as, and not just like samurai katanas for this guy, but like giant ass katanas are
Okay.
raining down on this guy.
Damn. Okay. Well, Geist sees that not only does Mr. Brick's new giant leaps kind of take you in the speed department. You can see like Mr. Brick just leaping in the air with Liam in his arms, and all of a sudden Liam creating giant katana blades that are impaling the creature that screams out of pain.
So before that happens, I want to say that Geist, who had a head start, maybe gets there just a little bit earlier,
Okay.
and is like, at first it's the standard, he tries to phase objects through there, but the creature's too big. If only he was weaker somehow. And then he just thrust his hands upon the creature's amorphous, thick, leathery back, and concentrating and thinking with this feeling of harm. All of a sudden the creature starts to become weaker and weaker. All of a sudden it's running its arms about. The creature itself begins wailing out in pain as it's no longer wailing with the actual potency of strength that it once had. And I am using weakness, the power from the DC Power Handbook. The creature's attributes are now being drained and getting lowered and lowered as he focuses more and more and more, and the creature becomes weaker. And that's when Liam's blades start to come in, and it cannot put up much of a defense against it. Its flesh is now weakened, its body.
All right, that's actually what I was about to say as well. That the creature's tough hide might have been something that the katana blades wouldn't have sunken all the way through before, but now that you've weakened it with your newfound powers, the katana blades sink all the way through, sticking out from the opposite side of his body. And with so many giant katana blades, it's pretty much just like a pincushion, but still the napalm-like puke. It's not like protruding very far. It's kind of like a water fountain type of thing, but it still like burns, and it's like this sticky orange material, or well, not orange because there's no color, but still this kind of and it's still blind with its eyes just shut. And you can see that from his hands, he's not like able to even flail them. One of them is that shriveled up kind of, creepy hand, and one of them is clearly clinching something against its chest, just like it's not just holding a fist, but it's clearly like holding something, pressing something against its chest there. And it's just writhing in pain, just kind of shooting everywhere.
I'll cover its mouth like with something that it's just stuffed into his mouth, that it can't spew out more of that acid.
Oh, all right. Any visual ideas like a metal plate or something with bolts?
Yeah. I'll create a metal plate and stick katanas into it that it sticks into its place.
Oh, damn. Well, yeah, well, that happens, and Geist being at its back will just see that from basically its back of its head, these katana blades will just like protrude out as it gets stabbed with katana blades through the mouthpiece there, and yeah, it's just this. Fluid that little bit lets out flame starts to bubble out of the wounds, and it's just the muffled out kind of stomach rumble kind of roar that it lets out doesn't create as much like thunderous roar, across the city as it's there.
As Liam covers the mouth, I'll having obviously placed Liam down so he could do the things and his cool totems. Seeing that the creature is actually clutching something, Mr. Brick leaps the distance, landing not so much as trying to knock him down or push him or hurt him or harm him, but landing onto the fist and begin to just kind of dig in there and just kind of pull as hard as he can to pull the hand apart to see what's inside that he's clutching.
Okay, since the hand is still pretty damn big, since this creature is pretty much Godzilla size, it's still like this taking hold. The positive thing is that because it has so much loose skin, there's something to grab onto, and even if you have to walk far away from the hand to yank it, open, it's still something that you can grab onto instead of just having to hug this enormous piece at once. Is your strength also increased with the cataclysmic shift of the dome?
Yeah, but I don't think it. Yeah, because is it point for point when you're adding them in? I can't remember. Like, I don't know. I don't want to.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to spend points I don't have because I don't know how many I know how many points I have. I just don't know what the transfer rate is. But I think
okay. Well, for dramatic purposes, we'll say you're strong enough where you're just like if you're pulling hard enough and Geist is weakening it from the back, and Liam is maintaining those construct blades that's been stuck through him. Liam also being if Mr. Brick left him on top of a roof there, Liam can clearly also see that underneath on the street level, the napalm puke hasn't done all that much trouble. It's ignited house fires on some of the locations it's left. It's been spewed on, but it's not like atomic breath level, like just blowing everything up. It's like there's fire trucks on the street level. There's police trucks. So there's people running, being like evacuated. Even as much as you guys see like just horrible sides of everyday people in this city that you're in. Also, this kind of catastrophe can unify even the most selfish kind of misanthropic people to where everybody wants to survive it, and everybody's kind of running to the same directions and stuff. As Mr. Brick is yanking that finger, you do manage to get one finger open far enough to where you can go and see what's in the hand.
Yeah, immediately I jump into it. Even if I have to squirm between his fingers, I don't care.
Okay.
I'm strong enough to wrestle my way through, worm my way in. Because sometimes forcing the hand open would be harder than trying to just stick something in there. So squeezing in might be easier for me to do.
Yeah. When you squeeze into its hand, what you find is a wet and crumpled up Captain Phantom comic.
Oh, you fucker.
And all of a sudden, when it lets out this belly roar that's muffled, it all of a sudden sounds like it has that note of getting high first, then stretching, and then getting high, like mom kind of roar, but kind of twisted and turned into a monster roar.
Yeah. I reach out and grab the comic.
It's the comic that you gave to that little boy who you saved with along with his mother in the early sessions.
And I could probably I can notice that even in the thing. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you recognize something a comic that belonged to you. Maybe you even wrote on the back, "This is the property of Mr. Brick" or something like that. You know, it's
yeah, probably
easily recognizable.
Yeah, with that, just I let out a roar, and then I just instead of worming my way out, I just begin to I'm just trying to just break free as quick as I can. I was trying not to really hurt him at first, but now I need to get out of here. So I mean, just punching, smashing, ripping, spinning. Yeah, if I can get the momentum to just start spinning and do area damage, because I have that ability to just flail, I'll do that, just to do anything to shatter my bonds now, as I'm considering this his massive hand around me as almost a cage, and I can't be held. This cannot be. Mr. Brick's been caged too many times, and this is something too much for him. He's basically just berserking now.
Okay.
Looks like he did when he saw those, the kids being strung up on the fences, and he just went nuts and killed all of them. He's probably in that range of anger, and black lines are leaking from his eyes if he had normal tears, but these are just jet black, just flowing down. And as the truth of who this creature really is just shatters everything that Mr. Brick is, and he just goes into a berserker frenzy, trying to destroy this image of the child, so that if he destroys this, then there won't be anything left, and it won't be that little kid anymore. It'll be just this creature. As far as Mr. Brick's psyche is concerned, this creature destroyed the little kid, but it has to be killed. It has to be destroyed. And he'll do anything in his powers to do that.
Okay. Well, Geist and Liam will notice that after Mr. Brick has gone into the clutched hand of the creature there, that indeed he does return in the same form that he was when you guys were trying to infiltrate the barbarian facility in the docks. He's flailing his way out of there. You can see that the fist is kind of like shaking until it's just kind of cramped open. Does Mr. Brick take the comic to hold on for himself, or does he just kind of let go of it? Or you're muted.
I said, yeah, he absolutely keeps it. It's probably engulfed in his hand, and that's the hand that whenever he really hits, that's the one that he's making sure to punish this creature that killed that kid in his mind. That this is what he's convinced himself of, instead of the other option of the kid becoming this, that he has to put it down. That's not something that Mr. Brick can handle. And you can see as he bursts free of the hand, he'll probably just kind of leap to the side and then just leap up as high as he can, even farther, even higher than he probably could before. And he'll do his most destructive, damaging thing, where he comes down with his fist and he just kind of flies up and then comes straight down, almost Superman style, and just generating all that force and energy into that one thing on top of this skull.
Can I, as I see Mr. Brick go up, and I've seen him quite recently do this same blow again, as he goes down, can I kind of like make a point on his fist, that it becomes like a sharp thing, that he almost just cuts through it even better than it already does with the force?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. Okay. What about Geist? You're still on the back, and you see basically Mr. Brick jump into the air and about to go, down with the fist that a Liam created construct,
He's going to become insubstantial as he has been, but he's going to continue to like hold on and weaken the creature. He could feel the flesh turning pale, continent, and getting more and more sickly, more and more weak, and he maintains that form until the final blow is struck. In the heat of this moment, he looks up and just whispers under his breath, "Finish it, Mr. Brick. Finish it now." As he like tries to drain more and more.
Okay. And down Mr. Brick goes. And he can feel through the construct. He can feel every layer of leathery hide, of muscle tissue, of bone, and eventually brain matter as you sink your fist so forcefully down that it creates a pressure wave that creates almost like a crater-like entry wound to the point where you can go deep enough to make sure that its entire brain is turned into mush by the shock of the punch, and not just your arm getting stuck or something like that. It's kind of like you go down, and it's the superhero kind of landing with your fist and knee on the bottom of basically the brain chamber of his skull, or whatever it's called. And you're basically at the bottom of that with the kind of cave of that skull there with the hole on top of the head, and just brain matter exploding everywhere. And you can just hear this kind of a rusty engine, like this kind of as it kind of just goes to very much in the way that you guys, when you felt that heartbeat in your head, its neck and shoulder area gets stiff and its legs totally give out from underneath it, and it just with this immense cloud of dust just and Liam, being on the edge of the building, can feel the on the edges of the building, the pressure wave of dust just whizzing up, with you being in the perfect spot of just kind of, not getting blown away by the smoke and stuff. With Mr. Brick going down with the creature inside the creature's head, hollow head, and Geist being insubstantial. As the creature goes down, you can see the clouds of dust just kind of form and completely come around, and as they cover basically the creature, they come and basically envelop you as well. Your insubstantial form just
Like he lets go limply as the creature is going through its death throes, and his hands just kind of hang there, and his whole form kind of hangs there. His shoulders are slumped, his breath is heavy, and he lets the wind wash over him as the dust goes right through his body. He looks down below and slowly descends as the dust and debris settles.
And as the dust does settle, it's very much like it just kind of sweeps into between the buildings and eventually falls to the ground. In this kind of assessing the situation from distance, the destruction was actually very minimal considering the size and power of this creature. You acted so quickly and so decisively, and the creature's puke wasn't that powerful that basically you walked away with minimal damage to the pedestrians and collateral around you. As the kind of fades away, every one of you, Liam from the rooftop, Geist from the air, and even Mr. Brick with the head being laying on the ground with the hole on the top of the head pointing to the direction where the fire trucks and police cars and whatnot were pointed, where people were rushed to evacuate the area. You all start to hear an incredible amount of cheering. You hear this hysterical cheering, the people just basically becoming more and more thunderous to the point of basically being like the hometown won the game kind of cheering. It's the sort of cheering that in a light-hearted superhero story would make any superhero feel proud and good about what they've accomplished, but it feels almost like another side of a putrid and repulsive kind of people when especially from the point of view of somebody like Mr. Brick, who knows that the monster wasn't just a random monster. It's like there's brain matter, there's blood, there's skin and flesh and everything around, and destruction. People most likely having been crushed in the buildings that it managed to crush before it died, and buildings burning, and everyone's cheering in the behind the police barricades, and you hear words like finally, and it's the return, and superheroes, and those sort of words getting recognized from the cheering from the crowd, and the crowd keeps getting louder because more people get into the crowd, and at some point the police barricade gets kind of stomped over. Police are shooting shotguns into the air as warning shots, but still some people start to run towards the carcass, but of course put on the brakes once the blood and sick and everything is close enough to their shoes and stuff. But they're completely like hysterical over the fact that they see a man in the sky, and they see like giant katanas coming around, which is also like supernatural stuff. And they also see well, they see, well, depending on what Mr. Brick does, whether or not they see him. And it's almost like this hysterical nostalgia of finally like these great men are gonna come and rescue us. They're gonna lift us up, like there is hope, and you know, and this kind of fervor. It's just pure emotion to the point where it's kind of like putrid to behold, kind of, you know. On a certain level, at least.
Geist, as he lowers down to the crowd below, descends. His arms are down at his side, slightly extended, as one foot touches the ground before the other lands softly. His cowl removed, his face revealed, that of the scarred visage of this man before you, his pale countenance, wild-eyed, looking about. He turns behind him to see the gory mess that is left there, hits upon his communicator over top of the roaring crowd. This is Geist. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. Target has been neutralized. Repeat, target has been neutralized.
And on top of that, you hear the closest one of the crowd just, oh my god, real superheroes. Are you a sword man? Are you what's your name? I gotta tell everyone. Can I have your autograph? Can you sign my water bottle?
And, you know, while his back is turned, he then turns to look at them, and they see the scarred face, the visage, the monster. That is Geist. As he turns to them. How do they react? How do they look?
Half of them look kind of stunned, and half of them haven't realized yet what they're looking at. They're still so like like in the fervor of the hysterics.
Nostalgia draws him closer as he walks slowly towards the crowd, his feet making pitter-patter amongst the liquid mixture of blood and rain that has dropped upon the ground below, mixing with the soot and dirt, the asphalt and such. He just walks slowly over towards them. We are the Longswords. I am Geist.
Okay, at that, people basically, long swords. It's no longer. It's not the bucklers. Then I thought you would be sword man or something of the new bucklers.
No, I am Geist.
Okay, a lot of the people are still like just like this generic kind of like, like after a sports game or something. They're not they're they're not that vocalized and articulate in any kind of way. They're just kind of into it. And
well, I mean, I'll say that Geist is like a little bit stunned at first because it's been years since he's heard that nostalgic cheer of the audience, of the crowd, and he has become very, very much. It's a bit hard for him to get reintroduced to such things, and for once he thinks perhaps he can be who he once was. So he's at a bit of a conflict of interest at the moment as he looks upon this crowd. His face scarred, looking about. Liam, Mr. Brick, do you read? Over.
You start to hear, by the way, while you're doing that, you start to hear like whispers, like, "Did you see his face? Look at his face." Those sorts of like gossipy kind of like, "Oh my God," not loud enough for you to hear. Like, "What's wrong with his face?" Like, "Oh, look at his face." All those things. But yeah, you said the radio.
Yeah, before the call came through, not far from where Geist lands and speaks to the crowd, Mr. Brick pushes his way out of the skull, the viscera, the brain matter of this once child, stepping forward, standing up to his full, 7.5 feet now, as he's physically bigger, physically stronger, wider. He looks down and opens up his hand and sees the tiny crumpled comic in his hand, and just stares at it, lost in thought, lost in contemplation, lost in the thought of what kind of superhero is he if he can't even save a small child, or even more so, what use is it to save a small child if this can happen to them and he has no way of protecting them or saving them from it. That's right around there is where you start hearing the real heavy cheers, and then Geist lands and he starts talking. And then when Geist calls over the head comm, I'm maybe 5 or 6 feet away from him, and I come up behind him. I'm here, Geist.
Yeah, and the crowd basically reacts with basically you arriving, and they're again like the same sort of like, "Oh, there's another one. Who is he? I don't know. What's your name? Who are you?" That sort of thing. "How many are there of the long swords?" That sort of stuff.
Not as taken aback as obviously, or taken aback for different reasons. Not wanting to deal with this, which is probably the first time in Mr. Brick's life that he's known that he hasn't wanted the adulations. Yet the the thought of him being a superhero, being recognized for it. This is definitely not what he thought it would be for. It's not as comforting or as exciting or as much as he wanted. But there is a part of him that understands. He's read enough of the comics. He knows how Captain Phantom is. He knows what he's supposed to do. And, he steps forward and loudly and clearly he says, I am Mr. Brick. I am part of the Long Swords. Geist is our commander. And there's another one, Liam. I hope he comes down.
You hear all sorts of, that's so cool. I bet he's really strong. Maybe he can lift a bus, maybe even a garbage truck. And that sort of, stuff there. Who's this Liam? Is he even bigger? What's going on? And what's Liam doing after the smoke thing kind of evaporates?
As he kind of stands down on the rooftop, looking at Geist coming down, mischievous thoughts pop in his head again, as in, like, making him look really attractive with an illusion and that sort of stuff, or creating a mask again for him. But he kind of shakes his head and he kind of turns around and walks to the other side of the building, and a disc kind of appears in front of him. He steps on it, and it just takes off and brings him towards the foundry, or what is it called? Our homepage of our home turf.
Oh yeah.
The armory or the foundry.
Where you live? That's what you mean?
No, the our secret secret our headquarters.
Yeah, that mansion.
Yeah.
Where you live. Okay, so you're not gonna go with Mr. Brick and Geist. You're just gonna go straight there.
Yep.
Okay. When you start to glide there with the disc, what sort of stuff is going through your head throughout that trip? Because the whole time you're basically to yourself. And it's a little while away, so you'll have time to ponder about stuff.
Yeah, Liam is working through a lot of shit, and is aware of his own mortality and his own fragileness compared to Geist and Mr. Brick, but is also aware of the fact that he's indeed a powerful man. He can do a lot. Maybe his power is more versatile than any of the others, and he's able to do so much. But he doesn't know why. He has no real motive to do the things that he does. Just for shits and giggles isn't enough for him anymore, and now that his mom's going to get out of jail, where's his drive? And he's now going to go over to his home, or, the base, to confront this woman that has recruited him, and kind of make sure he gets what's promised to him, and make sure she understands that his position within the team needs to be renegotiated. He, in his opinion, he made clear from the beginning on that he's not a warrior. He's not a man that's supposed to be on the front line and that sort of thing. And she just totally neglected that and just sent him out doing missions and that sort of stuff. And with two people that he believes have the best intentions, but, three people, including Manny, who are, in his opinion, best intentions, but no real professionals and no real people that act professionally. They act emotionally, and he does as well. He's very aware of that, but he hasn't had no training. I mean, Mr. Brick hasn't had any training, but Geist is the one who's supposed to lead us all. And, well, the interaction that he had with this other captain and stuff, it was just, well, it could have escalated so quickly, and he just took no responsibility for the safety of, well, in this case, himself. So he was very, like, left to his own devices, and just the fact that he was able to think quickly and things, that was the reason why he was still alive. And now, is he gonna again go out and do things with these people, or is he just gonna call it quits and just gonna go over like, okay, this is done? He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He needs to talk to this Tanya and see what her idea is and what the plan is and why are we doing all this. He's got what he wanted now. If his mom's going to be free, that's what he wanted, and that's what he needs. And he learned more about his powers than he ever thought he could. And he knows now that he is very powerful and can do so much. And, well, there's not really a lot out there that can stand up against him in the way that he thought so many things could. Thinking back of the first thing where he really actively used his powers within that bar where this guy kind of come up to him, he was, at that time, he was panicking and like, oh shit, I need to get out of here. And now realizing that he could easily, just remaining seated in the table, he could just wipe out that entire bar or have constructions connected to all their limbs and stuff and have them dance around and that sort of thing. Is just, well, he needs to also come to grip with how powerful he actually is.
Okay. Well, as you're flying on that disc, contemplating all these very true things, the people you're working with aren't that professional, and a lot of people are working very emotionally because of what's happened in this place, because it's everyone who's on that team is whoever Tanya Vasilevich could get her hands on, because just about, like she said in the early part of the game, just about everyone with any type of superpower is either a gang leader or a predominant member of a gang. So they're like out of reach. So the scrap she was able to gather in this predicament. So not always like perfect specimens for this sort of work, but still, as you are flying on that disc, contemplating these thoughts, well, I think I'm going to leave it there, actually. I think I'm going to leave it there. Looking at the clock and everything, I think if I leave it there, it's better. It's not too much of a cliffhanger. I'll leave something for the next session's beginning parts. So,
good smart.
It's suspense, folks. Tune in next time. Will Liam join the Long Swords, or will he go his separate ways? Will Geist ever get over his past? And can Mr. Brick get over the actions that he has committed? Tune in next time and more to DC Adventures Midnight City.
Yahoo!